Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazzinbob, and I'm joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Good to hear. Good to hear it. And we're joined once again by Ubiquitous, aka Ubi. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Doing good. Doing good. It's bright and early there and down under, huh?
Yep, 9 o'clock in the morning. No better time to pod.
Awesome. And we have Buktastik, aka Buck or Bucky. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Life's good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And first time on the show, we have IAmLubes, aka Lubes. How you doing, sir?
I'm wonderful. I'm very happy to be here. Fuck around.
Good. Lubes, I think, is the youngest person ever on the show now. But he's more mature than me, so it's all good. It's all good. But it's
not sure about that, but I'll take it.
It's good to see younger people get into the game. The youngest person I've ever podcasted with, though, me and Mel, was God, how old was he? 12? I think he was 12. It was our Overwatch podcast, and he was in Masters. It was a pretty funny interview. But yeah.
That's awesome. 12 is crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had to talk with his mom and everything, make sure it was okay.
I'm not okay. Okay, Mel.
No. All right. Well, I'd like to start off the show by thanking our tank patrons in Croxford, Turtle Whale, and Braxton. You guys keep the lights on here. Thank you guys so much. And all the Patreons, thank you guys so much. I'd like to mention we stream the show live on twitch.tv/Blazzinbob. That's BLAZZINBOB. The new YouTube channel's doing good. We need more subs. That's youtube.com/@Warcraft Reloaded if you want to help us out there. But it's doing a lot better than I thought it would with the switchover. So we thank you guys there for that too. Discord server is warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. If you need any rested XP guides, it's warcraftreloaded.com/rested XP, or the links in the description. However, it seems like I don't think they have a guide for Nightmare Incursions, so you guys probably don't need it. just being honest, right now.
That's all they need.
Yeah, I use it all the time, but I have not used it really at all this phase, unfortunately. But whatever. We're going to start the show off with the comment of the week. Then we're going to do voicemails. If you want to leave a voicemail, it's 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. Then we're going to do a Discord question. Then we are going to go over the news. The news this week, a lot of it we probably won't talk about much. We'll talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about, but most of it is just kind of letting you guys know this is in the game, because there's a lot of really cool things in the game that I bet a lot of you guys do not know if you're not keeping up with everything. And I bet you we don't even know everything that's in right now. It's absolutely nuts with the amount of stuff they threw at us in P3. And then to end out the show, we're just going to talk about Sunken Temple and our time there. So yeah. That's going to be the show, and yeah, I guess let's get started. Mel, do you want to read the comment of the week?
Sure. It's from Tom Tenare, and he said, "What you should talk about is the spawn timers on patterns from vendors like Runecloth Bag or Major Healing Potion, and so on, trying to camp those for hours and no luck. It's about 4 to 6 players on 10 plus layers that camp the vendors on EU servers.
I thought this was a really good point to bring up. This is kind of a problem because they don't spawn very often, but people are just like, most likely it's bots camping the timers and not people, and that kind of sucks. Like on a seasonal server, should these even be in with timers, or should it just be like the other regular recipes where you can buy as many of the recipe as you want? You know, I feel like seasonal server, that shouldn't be like, these people are wasting hours of time to get this recipe when they could be playing the game, you know, and the game's not going to be around as long. So what's everybody think? Anybody go?
I think it's good that there's rare recipes, like not just, I think it's good that they're like not all just easily accessible.
Okay.
But like at a certain point, if like no one's actually allowed to get the recipe, and if it's just getting camped by bots and not able to get, I think there's no point to making it exclusive. Just give it to everyone.
Yeah, I'd rather have those rare ones be like drops off of mobs and stuff like that, rather than at a
those
vendor.
grinds are fun because I know there's people grinding for like Argent Dawn rep to get mana per 5 to their bracers and healing to their bracers, I think. And like that's fun because it's exclusive because of a grind, not sitting at a vendor and waiting.
Not because you got, not 'cause you were out. You got to outplay somebody by sitting at a vendor longer than somebody else, right? Like,
it's not like a rewarding reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit just an outdated thing. It's fun to find random stuff on vendors, but it's not as fun when they're time gated and the entire server knows that this pattern drops at this vendor, and you just got 4 alts on 10 layers each, just sitting there all day trying to get it. It's not as fun when it's just a known entity in the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend the time doing that. I mean, that's not why I play the game. I play to have fun. I mean, I play to play. So,
or if they like rotated the rare, like I don't know what potion or something's rare right now. They rotated it between the alchemy supply vendors around the world.
That'd be hilarious. It spawns on one of them, and it's a mad dash to find which one it's on. Dude, I'd be checking every vendor then. Oh my god, that might be worse. That might be worse. I'd be like, well, I gotta check the vendors while I'm here. It could be anything here.
Then the bots are just gonna have 9 characters parked at 9 different vendors. It's not gonna change much if it's like that. Yeah.
Oh, but but they're not gonna be able to trade it. Although that's for the news coming later. Oh man. So I thought that was a good comment, something to really kind of like watch out for, because I'm not usually into like the crafting things, so it was something that kind of went under my radar, but there's probably a lot of people pretty pissed off about that. All right, so let's go into Mel. Did you have anything to say about that? You didn't chime in.
Yeah, I did kind of. Not really. I mean, I don't love it. I'm not going to do it, but I don't know. It's something that's been in the game forever. So, whatever.
Why change now?
Yeah.
But well, I think they should change it to either a mob drop. I like that idea, or just in addition, mob drop. Like maybe they don't need to change it. Just, you know, we have all kinds of things dropping from all kinds of things that didn't drop in vanilla. When you mine a mine, you can get essence of, you know, you get all the different fire essences and stuff like that. And when you herb an herb, you can get extra herbs. Now that wasn't in vanilla. Like, so maybe something like that where it drops from mobs in the area too. Like that would be, and pick mobs that like aren't part of quests though. Yeah. Like pick mobs that are just like nobody kills. Like in those quest areas where there's 2 different types of mobs, but only one mob is in the quest. So everybody kills the one mob and they share a spawn. So that it turns into 75 of this other mob that nobody needs.
No one's killing them.
Make them drop the cool shit.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, make it worth it.
All right, I'm going to play this voicemail.
Hey everybody, Nard here. I'm just throwing in a new perspective from someone who's just starting SOD. April 9th is when I officially was able to get in and start a character and start leveling up. Only got to 13, but I had a lot of fun getting 4 runes so far and all that. So I mean, first impressions of leveling right now, I'm having a really good time. I did hit some hiccups. I have a friend who's been playing, I think, since launch of SOD, and I finally just decided to join. And he's Alliance on a High Pop server, Living Flame, and I really wanted to be able to play with him. So when I was first starting a character, Alliance was all blocked out, I think, for the server balancing thing. But then I tried yesterday. I tried on the 8th, and then I tried yesterday on the 9th, and I was able to play around and make an Alliance character and get to the naming part and everything. But then it wouldn't let me create the character because it said server lock or population or faction imbalance or whatever. And so what I ended up doing was I just kept repeatedly hitting enter, 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 enter for probably 2 minutes, and then I forced my way in. So initial reaction to that.
So this is the first part of his email, and he's talking about basically PvP servers. They've got the 50-50 thing. Now, I was able to get in doing that. I wonder, if they're just counting level 1s for those numbers. I would hope they count accounts for those numbers and not level 1s, but yeah, it was interesting to hear his perspective, but I feel like that's okay. We've had a really fun PvP time, and it's because of those stipulations. And I know it's rough for people coming back, but for the overall game, I think it's been great. How do you guys feel about the locks? Now that we've went through a few phases. You still like them? Do you still think they're good, or do you think it's a waste of time?
The alternative is so much worse, right?
Oh yeah.
The alternative of not having any faction balance is so much worse. We've all lived through that, and it's awful. I think he probably, I don't know what the algorithm is for Blizzard on how they determine when people can create characters and when they can't, but I'm guessing when he was able to create a character, it was unlocked for a minute and then locked again before he finalized his character. So I don't know what they're counting, but I'm guessing it's somebody made a couple horde characters or something, right? And so he was allowed to then make an Alliance character. And so I think that it's working, and I know it's kind of a pain, but you're going to lose so many more people if they're able to create characters and they create on the faction imbalanced part of it. They're going to leave right away because they're going to get murdered 100 times, and they're going to be like, this isn't even fun.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
if you start a
go,
horde
Bucky.
character, and so now you've chosen horde, so you can only make horde characters. If the server rebalances or whatever, and there's room for Alliance, then can you delete those characters and then start an Alliance character?
Yes,
too.
all of the characters, if there's room on that side. But the stipulation where you can only make horde or only make all Alliance, that's only a stipulation on PvP servers. PvE servers, you can have horde and all Alliance on the same server on the same account.
Makes sense.
But I think Mel's right when it comes to the alternative. You have these Wrath PvP servers. I was on Wrath of the Lich King White Mane, and it was 97% horde or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a PvP server. I rolled a PvP server because I wanted to do that. I wanted some open world PvP, and there was just none of it.
That was our old
It
server.
kind of felt bad.
Towards
it was? I didn't know that.
Yeah, towards the end, it was the beauty server towards the end until TBC, basically from the AQ to all the way to the end of Classic. it was 50. It was basically 50-50, and it was really
That's
fun.
awesome.
And then TBC, it changed. Once it got to 70-30, it was basically unplayable.
Mhm.
As
Having world
30.
PvP feels good though.
It does.
Like it sucks
does.
sometimes, but it feels good to have
It gives meaning.
aliveness in the other game. Yeah.
Yeah, it does suck at times. It sucks bad at times, but that's okay. That's what gives it life. That's what
That's
makes
wild.
it feel.
Friction.
Yeah, like, and I mean, you could always change layers, guys. Like, I mean, it's so easy to change layers. If you're having that much of a problem, just change layers. But if not, engage and have a good time with it. Like, I just don't.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was just going to say I'm just taking the piss out of all the players. They wanted faction balance. They love PvP servers, and then they go be a weasel on their 80-20 layer anyway, and they're not on it anymore. You guys, people didn't want PvP servers. They just like to think that they do, and then they're on there and they're like, invite layer 3. I'm getting butthurt in Ashenvale, and it's like, all right, dude, should have
It's
just
like
played
looking
PvE.
for a horde layer.
Yeah,
See-
I'm being arrogant about that because I've only layer hopped once ever, and that was on when I started on Crusader Strike because I was getting camped relentlessly. But I'm not a layer hopper. I'll just put up with whatever shit fuck fest of a layer I've been given by the game, even if it's 99-1. I'll just hang out and be like, yeah, I'm not going to be here forever, or go do something else. But
See,
yeah,
Right.
I don't. The players don't actually get a 50-50 experience because we manipulate the layers anyway.
I've got a rule. Like, I go and I'll try to get, if somebody kills me, I'll go and try to get revenge at least twice. Unless, like, I'm playing with a bunch of people and they're waiting on me and they don't want to do that, I'll respect that and be like, all right, let's just all jump layers. But if it's me, you can ask Mel, like, I'm going to go back and try. But sometimes, usually, I'm able to whoop the crap out of people that I come into in the open world. It's nothing compared to BGs. Like, BGs are like you oftentimes run into good players, but in the open world, I usually just dumpster people. But the times that I do, and it's it's probably like 15% of the time I try and these people just whoop my ass. I'm like, all right, I tried to kill you 4 times. I've been weighed. I've been judged.
Yeah.
I've been found wanting. I'm going to go ahead. And sometimes I'll just leave if it's not something I have to get done, I'll just leave the area and do something else. And that's, I think, what a PvP server should be. It's like, oh, okay, everybody's stuff's too crazy here right now. I'm going to have to come back and do it later, and that's what, if I could do everything I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it, that happened in Wrath. And what happened? I just never PvP'd, never did BGs, never did anything in Wrath. I just PvE'd, and that is not like me at all. But I did that because the Horde didn't exist to me. Like, they just weren't a real thing. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah.
To put it in a more optimistic light, we've kind of developed our own really weird opt-in PvP server. Like, I know when Josh
Kinda.
wants to PvP, he's looking for the fucking 90% alliance layer to go upset as many of them as possible. And it's kind of funny that it's what we've developed between ourselves of like, oh, I feel like world PvP today. Put me on the bad one. Throw me in there, coach. And then when you just want to do your dailies, no, put me on the Horde one. I want a PvE server this afternoon, and that's what we do.
Dude, I tried
See,
so
I feel
hard.
Like that's not. I feel like it's not. At least in my experience, and I'm not, I guess, out in the world too much. But I feel like even when I layer hop to another layer with other alliance. It's just not the alliance that
Yeah.
were camping me, right? Like,
Well,
I don't think I've
feel
ever
like it can be hot or cold.
intentionally
Like,
layered.
it can be. It's not like you're going on a layer where you're not going to see them, but you're going to a layer where there's not enough of them for them to want to fuck around and find out. Like,
Mhm.
as soon as, and it happens all the time. As soon as you go to the NPC and all like the Alliance or the Horde look around and go, oh, it's 3-1 here. Yeah, fuck them up. But then even if it's like 3 versus 2, it's like, nah, too close. Let's just keep the peace.
Yeah.
But as soon as it starts to look overwhelming in one side, they're like permission to be dogs, like just rip in. So
Well, people just don't want to mess with it early on here too. I found Swamp's a huge guild, right? I mean, during prime time, 200 people are on. It's ginormous. I raid lead a raid in there, and so I have a channel to like throw up signups. So I last week threw up a sign up for, all right, I'm tired of these alliance. We are going to go into the alliance lair with a 40-man raid and just destroy everybody in the Emerald Dream. And I got 6 signups, and I was like, all right, well, I guess nobody wants to do this. I was so excited about doing it.
Everyone just wants to be so efficient for the first 7 days of each phase that you're just watching, we're all just one faction except for 1% of players that want a PvP even while they level.
Yeah, see, I should have put up the clip of Leonidas, giving the speech to the 300 when I put up the sign up. Maybe that would have helped.
Mm-hmm.
Give them nothing. Well, so he has another part. He's struggling as a new player coming to SOD here. So here's the next part.
Initial reaction to that was that I was kind of frustrated because I had to make a sub. First things first, I made a whole new BattleNet account, but this is for part 2 of my thing. But anyways, I had to sub first before seeing that that faction was kind of unavailable, at least on paper. But I did kind of force my way into being able to play Alliance, but it wasn't very easy. I kind of was impatient and I almost wasn't going to play. But then, yeah, I did make a new account just because it's a seasonal server. And I was like, I'm not going to use my old account for whatever reason. I kind of wish I would have now, because now I found out that if you made a new account and you're adding subscription time to your account for the first time, you don't get full access to the economy. So I think maybe you guys could clarify this. That's kind of my question here is, can you clarify what the recent thing about they're locking new subs out of being able to use the auction house, I think the mail, possibly even trading? I haven't tried all those things. I tried to use the auction house. And if I'm locked out of the auction house for a month, I'm going to end up vendoring a bunch of stuff that I could probably make a lot of money on, beginning stuff for professions, whatnot. So that's kind of frustrating. And I kind of, I just want you guys to focus on that. So what do you know about this, about that?
So this is in the news, but I'll go ahead and cover it now. New accounts that purchase game time. Now I think this means without a credit card attached to it. So you purchase game time via, I don't know, the WoW token or through a card you buy from the store. But I think if you attach a credit card, this isn't a thing, but I'm not sure about that. But either way, new accounts have a stipulation now for 30 days. They can't use the mail, they can't chat, and they can't they can't chat. They can't use the mail, use the auction house, or trade with other players. Now they can be traded to, but they can't trade anything to other players. So yeah, this is something that showed up and really messed up a lot of people. I didn't have the tank for my first raid. My tank, found this out basically an hour before raid, the first raid on it was a Sunday, and couldn't come. And our friend Casimo, friend of the show, happened to him too. This is kind of a weird deal. I think it's for botting. I'm not positive.
It's definitely an anti-botting measure.
Yeah, which is probably a really good anti-botting measure. But boy, think about somebody actually coming back and being an actual new player. Most people they've had their accounts forever. They're coming back. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But a brand new player could be fucked with this. That's enough to just not play the game.
I'm unsure if it's how it works, how you said. I believe it does. If you just pay cash money to play, you won't have this limitation on your account. And if you're a new player, that must be the only way they can play the game. If they're a new player, they don't have a gold to buy a WoW token anywhere. And if they do, then they must have bought the gold. So we don't want them anyway. So, but yeah, if you're a new player, how else are they getting into the game if they're not paying for their first sub with their credit card? Because they don't have gold to buy a token
Well, you
to
can
be in this demographic, right?
you can buy the Blizzard. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of this? Gift card, and like you could use that to up your account, and then somebody could give you gold to buy the WoW token too, I guess. Like, but I think if your credit card's attached to it, and I think it's not a thing, but I'm not positive on that. Somebody can tell us in the comments or write in or something, but. Yeah, I mean, it's still a really jarring thing.
I think if your credit card's attached to it and it allows you to do everything, then I don't see any problem with it. I
If
think
that's
it's
the
fine.
case, then I think it's fine too. But
Yeah, it might be one of those little inconveniences for 0.4% of the population. That's just it's for the greater good, because as soon as they brought it in, I saw like screenshots of bots just like pretty much folding. They're like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and they just kind of stood around and stopped doing their thing because they couldn't use anything or send gold anywhere. So
And don't they have to
pretty
actually
funny.
play during that first like 30 days or something? They have to have so much game time.
I'm not sure on that either. I do know people have been getting it lifted from their account if they're really, really tenacious about writing constantly, reopening their ticket constantly. Like, and they Casimo got his account lifted from it, and the GM wrote back, "All right, sorry for the inconvenience. You can do everything now, and you are no longer stuck to solo self-found mode." It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about how many people it's impacting, I do get that that's probably annoying, but at the same time, how many of those people would have continued playing if they could have just done all of that? It's probably a small percentage as well. So it's not like they're losing a large, new player revenue source.
And Bad Band Kitty in chat definitely points out that they did put out a blue post about it. I still don't know if they talked about the credit card or things, but they brought that post out after it was implemented and everybody thought it was a bug, and they just made their customer service even more. They could have like communicated it earlier, I guess. No other thoughts on it though?
Well, I
hopefully it
logged in
works.
the other night and wasn't able to use the auction house or the mail for, for maybe an hour or two. It's a little annoying, I probably had nothing to do with what you guys are talking about because I didn't start any new characters or anything. But I know I'm not the only one that's gone through that too. I've heard of other people, not having access to trade in auction house for an hour or two.
I think that's just when it's down.
Separate?
Yeah, I think that's completely separate. This is like for 30 days they don't have it when making a new account. But
well, that makes sense.
Yeah, if I knew for sure that you could use a credit card and not have it happen to you, then I would say this is a moot point and it doesn't even matter. But oftentimes, though, at the same time, we've heard that a lot of the botting agencies use stolen credit cards, so I don't know that I'm accurate on the using a credit card works. All right, well, Mel, do you want to read our Discord question?
Sure. From Lawmaster Farms, he said, "Wait, that's an email, right?"
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. "Hey guys, love the show. I've played WoW since vanilla, but recently my wife has decided to play the game with me. I was already playing SOD, so I just rerolled a character with her. We are duo leveling priest-lock combo. She's brand new to the game, so I was hoping you guys would have some tips for playing WoW with your spouse, especially when they are new to the game. It's been challenging to slow down when I know this game like the back of my hand. She's playing the lock and seems to be enjoying it. Thanks."
I thought this would be a good one for you to answer, Mel.
Why me?
Because
I'm not new to the game.
yeah, but this is what happened to you, 20 years ago or so.
Yeah, that's fair, but we can't talk about what I had to do for me to get me into the game. So
A little controversial these days, yeah. We didn't know it wasn't allowed at the time, so
let's just say I was not happy. He did not re-roll a character with me. He was like, here's the game. This will be so much fun. And then I got it and I was like, okay, where are you at? And he's like, oh no, you have to get to 60 before we can hang out. And I was like, I'm sorry. No, that's not going to work for me. So then I got to 60 somehow.
in about 4 days.
So I think like you just have to kind of retrain your brain as the person who's been playing for a long time, right? And kind of allow them to experience it, because that's something new that they're going to get to experience, that you've already had that experience, and taking that away from them by like pushing them and making them go quicker and like expecting them to know everything, you're just going to make it unfun for them, right? They're not going to buy into what this is. So I think you really have to like let them take the lead, like give them tips and stuff, but realize that there's so much that they don't know that you don't even think to tell them, right? Like
Michael is doing that with his wife right now.
yeah.
She just picked up the game, and he's, he has a hard time with that balance because he just wants to hop in there and be like, oh, go do this, go do that. But yet, like you're saying, you really want to let them experience the game as much as they can. I mean, when I started the game, it was awesome, this whole new world. But if somebody was telling me, I don't know, almost playing the game for them at that point. So I that's good advice. Let them experience the game.
I think giving them tools, like be there and experience it with them. But I think giving them tools, like I will say, like I think rested XP would make like the leveling process much easier, just because they have objectives, they have like a clear like path, like
link in the description.
Navigating the world is a whole different level of understanding of the game, right? That you kind of just acquire as you go through it. And I think if you really want them to, enjoy it, you also have to understand like from level 1 to 10 is when they're going to learn how to use like 3 abilities, right? But on top of that, they have to like, I don't know if they were used to playing other computer games or if they're a gamer at all. Like that makes a difference too, right? Like, is this the first time they've ever picked up a computer game? Like, are they used to console games, or do they not game at all? And this is the first time they're gaming, because those all have a different, like you can kind of relate different things if they're used to other games, or if they're not, then you're kind of starting from the beginning of like, this is how you turn your camera versus turning your body. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to know.
Yeah, teaching
you don't
strafe,
like super bombard them. Let them learn. Don't like try to play the game for them. They'll figure it out. But make sure you're guiding them in the right way.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things for, I think, many of us when we bring somebody into the game. We just like verbal diarrhea, and like we want to tell them everything so fast. Like I've been helping Jason, and I've been trying to kind of like, go slowly, but sometimes I give way too much, but I try to like just give, and he's a real good student. So like after I'm off, he'll have heard what I said and try and like kind of really figure it out on his own before asking me again, like what, he might have got, wrong or this or that. Right. So yeah, I think it's you kind of just have to weigh it with the person, but it sounds like you're going to have to go real slow with her, and that's okay. Like, it'll feel slow to you.
It's okay if she asks you every time she gets a piece of gear, is this better? Because I think I did that for a really long time. And it's okay because I still don't know when Bob says, fly to this place. I'm like, okay, yeah, where's that at? Is that on this island or this continent or the other continent? Is it in the north or the south? I have no idea. Like there's about 5 places where I know where they are when we're going there. And the rest of them, I have no idea. Like, couldn't tell you. And I've been playing this game for years.
To be fair, on the Horde side, I have my own little made-up names for all of them, like Camp Mowachu. I don't know what the hell the real name is, but I got Camp TP, like which is Camp T. I don't know what the hell it is.
This could be part of my confusion of the whole world is because I have Bob who's making up names.
He's like,
Yeah.
go to
Be
Camp
honest.
T. There's no Camp T on the map.
Oh man. And then like Felwood and Feralas, I get mixed up all the time. I'm telling people, they're like, all right, where do I go? I'm like, you go to Feralas. I'm like up in Felwood waiting for him. I'm like, dude, where you at? They're like, you said Feralas. I was like, oh, I fucking probably did. God damn it. I meant Felwood. And then they're all the way on the southern part of the map. And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
It's really though only on Horde. Like Alliance, the names are easier. Like I've got that shit down, and I've played it for the last years. I didn't play Horde until Sod. I hadn't played Horde for 15 years until Sod. So.
All right, I've been on Horde for 20 years, and Camp T is just Camp T. I don't know what the T stands for.
It's just Camp T.
Good deal. Yeah, I think that answered it pretty good. All right, so what's everybody been up to? I mean, we've been up to a billion things, so just kind of like pick a highlight, maybe. Let's start with Buck. So we got a lot here.
I'm trying to catch up. Like, it was going from phase 1 to phase 2 was a big leap for me, and then so now going to phase 3, going from a 10-man to a 20-man raid. There's just a lot going on. So I'm just trying to, kind of catch myself and kind of get caught up with you guys as quickly as I can, really.
Yeah, it's a whole new world with the
fun.
new world buffs and everything, and yeah, it's a lot. At least it's only 3 at the moment. Shit gets crazy soon.
Mm-hmm.
Gets crazy soon, but I mean, you've been doing other stuff though. What all you been doing?
Farming gold.
You
I'm
love
doing a
farming.
lot. I do. I love farming gold. I love to be able to say I've opened all my bank slots. I love to, when my friend is having a hard time getting his mount still in phase 3, I love to be able to just, here, I've just take it.
I know. I love that feeling too. I don't know how many people I've helped with their mount now. I think it's 5.
You didn't help me with my mount, but you definitely helped me with a lot of gear.
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, you didn't need help, but I helped.
Yeah,
your brother. I don't know if anybody. I don't know if other people want me to name their names,
that aren't playing anymore.
Pretty much everybody except his brother are still playing. But
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's like Christmas. Like I enjoy helping people out, and then I semi-regret it later when I'm like, fuck, if I had that money. Especially with enchant costs right now. Oh my God, I went to get 15 edgy and I was like, fuck that. And I was like, I'll just get fiery. And then I was like, fuck that. It's like 50 gold for fucking fiery. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I need to work up my enchanting.
Ugh. All right, well, what about you, Lubes? What have you been up to?
My second boomkin is 49 and a hair away from 50. So hopefully I can get that lockout in before that happens on Tuesday. And I've been fishing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I fish so much. It's great. I'll turn on my stream. It's late at night. I'll just turn on my stream. No camera, no anything. I just sit and fish in Moonglade. And I catch these night fin snappers. Cook them into food and make a ton of gold. Yeah, and it's great. I just sit and hang out. I do my raid once a week.
Only catch them at night.
Yeah, from
I tell you, I love
6
watching
PM server to 6 a.m. server.
I love watching Lube stream. He does different things in different times. Like he just gets a wild hair. Sometimes he'll spend 6 hours fishing. Sometimes he'll go find holes in the map, and he'll find these crazy places to go where there's nobody else.
That's so much fun.
He's a real fun,
RP
fun stream for sure.
RP walk with Alliance.
Oh yeah,
I ruined his RP walk the other night.
Oh man,
my hunter. We were doing a rune where you have to get this little ape from the Yeti cave in Feralas or whatever it is. and we killed all the Alliance inside the cave, and this savvy, smart rogue, which is why I was even more pissed off, didn't try to kill one of us. The motherfucker killed my fucking little ape, like for my quest. And I was like, all right, bros, I'm sorry. I'm waiting. I have to kill him at least one more time. And then he came back, killed him, and I was like, all right, guys, well, I kind of need to get my skinning up just a little bit more. Can we kill him one more time? And they're like, all right, fine, Bob, whatever. And then we were like, all right, well, I don't think he's coming. Let's go ahead and go. And then he reses, he comes out and he waves at us. And Lubes is like, oh, okay. Let me do my RP walk. And I was like, fuck that. And I was like, I just ran in, killed him again. Like, I was so mad.
Oh, God.
I was just like, I'm just mad because he did the thing that actually slowed us down.
He was smart.
I know. It was
Yeah,
super
Bucky mentioned finding holes in the world. That's some of the most fun I have. Like getting like out of bounds in STV. Like I can get into the Caverns of Time right now because it's out of bounds, but it's like still instanced in the game. I think that stuff's so interesting to me.
Did you get the World Warper? Because that thing is
I did
really
not.
Cool.
I rezzed that on like 3 of the last lockouts and it never
Me too.
dropped.
I rezzed it
I got it.
on 1 and I got it. I was the
Damn it,
only
no.
res. And then I rezzed the mount on 1, but Kef also rezzed it and Kef won it. And the mount looks undead looks so cool on that mount. It is absurd.
I think everything looks cool on that mount except Tauren. Tauren kind of
doesn't
looks
look cool on
wonky.
it.
I don't know. Like, Orc looks pretty bow-legged. I mean, it's Orc and Troll, but I don't know. Like the undead, your legs just kind of like go right up with it. It's almost like the mount was built for you, and it looks. It looks almost like it's your legs. If that makes sense, like your legs are so far in, it looks almost like it's your legs. I don't know. It's. I like it a lot, but yeah, Ubi, what have you been up to?
My Aussie rogue is pretty much cruising on all fronts, so now I can start smashing the American rogue, which has been fun. Doing princess runs with you guys. Yeah, I've got my second rogue on the Aussie servers is just my gathering machine. So he has 300 herbing and mining, and that's just printing money. It's fucking wild,
Especially in instances.
Even now, like I think because it's so alt friendly, so many people have just focused on getting like 350s in gear that there's like still no one gathering. You just run around and all the nodes are yours because no one else is doing it. So making a shitload of gold with that, and DB Cobber's coming along nicely, bit by bit, getting the war song rep and stuff. So yeah, between 3 characters having to do STV, Ashen Vale, Emerald Dream, even though it's a daily, and I know dailies aren't for everyone, I quite like making sure to go past Hinterlands every day and at least do one, so I get a bit over a K rep every day, and I don't know, it feels productive for 15 minutes work.
Yep.
So
Really does. And we'll even talk about how to even make it even more productive when we get to one of the news articles, because you can get to the Emerald Nightmares really fast if you have friends doing them.
yeah.
Mel, what about you?
Not a ton. I did my first Sunken Temple raid, and I don't know. Just
You've done a bunch of
What have I done?
princess runs, and
I have done.
we've
like,
gotten your
princess-
runes, and yeah. And you're gonna PvP tonight because we need healers, and it's gonna be glorious.
It's
That's
not going to
not
happen.
confirmed.
It's not going to happen.
We'll see.
The runes overall have been kind of simple, at least for druids. You mentioned the runes; they weren't that crazy to find this phase, and I'm kind of disappointed at that.
It depends on the character. Like my hunter was real easy, although I only needed to get 2 for me to do melee. But the rogue ones, I mean, the one where you have to do ZF, like that's a lot of shit. Like you're flying all over the place, and then you go into CF, and you're like insta killing bosses, and And
Someone really likes rogues who develops runes. 'Cause
I
they
know.
always give rogues like some cool.
Mhm.
The,
They're
the
fun.
rogue, like the lore behind everything, is so interesting to me.
Yeah, they I don't think they like rogues as a class for development, but there's a storyteller at Blizz that's having a great time.
Yeah,
One
I-
banger rune
Yeah.
every phase.
I've been trying to get someone on the team to tell me who's responsible for it, because they need some big ups, like, because it's been great. I remember.
I can't wait to see where it goes. The whole C debacle.
Uh-huh.
Been working for a bad man all this time. I can't wait to find out.
I just remember doing the one at Scarlet Monastery when you dressed up. And when I saw that mask, I just sat there and laughed for like a good 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so silly. Oh my gosh, this is so good. But yeah. Yeah, the runes were a little bit lackluster, but at the same time, there's so much shit to do. Like, I'm kind of happy, and the rune for the wild offerings, I mean, that's been something that's been pretty cool. And it's something where once you get like the materials and stuff for it, like the thing that brings the pig in oh my God, why am I'm blanking? Razorfen Downs, like you could keep that and you could use it over again to help other people just skip that part of the quest. So I think most of our buddies in our friend group haven't even gotten that piece of it because we've just went in and opened up the pig, so they've never even had to go grab it. But yeah, it's cool to see these different things that you can skip because somebody else has done the work for it, which is kind of like a neat thing for everybody. Like, so you don't all have to do it. I kind of like that. It's something I don't know that we've seen as much. So I think that's cool.
I like that they're making an honest rogue of all the players because you need to level your lockpicking. And that not every rogue's a true rogue that leveled it without needing a rune, but the fact that they've gone and put carnage behind it is funny to me because I know some rogues that just despise this shit.
Well, and that's an example. So our friend of the show, Black Reaper, who probably have on the show sometime, he comes and helps me a lot in stream. He's in Swamp. He'll jump in Discord too and help me there. But he brought me and Jason like early on. He's like, hey, I'm going to get the Rampage rune for you. And so we go there, but it turns out you can only open it once. Like, once you get the rune, you can no longer open it. So he was going to open it for us to do it. And we're still not sure if one rogue can open it that hasn't done it and other rogues can loot the body if they're in the same group and get a tag on it. We're not sure about that. But yeah, he tried to skip us by that, but couldn't do it. So had to go work it up in, the Syrian Gorge area. And that was a lot of fun PvP with rogues. A lot of fun PvP.
Three rogues walking around, I'm sure it's fun.
Yeah, it was peaceful when I was there, and then the one guy that tried to sap me and steal a box, I ended up I trinketed and killed him for it. And Josh was telling me this is the difference between him and I. I just wanted to get in, get my 25 lockpicking skills, and I just went and got carnage straight away. Josh was the guy that just killed everybody he found in there, and his 25 skill points took like 3 hours worth of PvP because he was just running amok in there, being the disturber of the peace.
Josh has his kill on sight list, but I always think to myself, I bet you he's on more people's kill on sight list than his kill on sight list is long, right? If he's got like 150, there's 350 people that have him on kill on sight because he just attacks, for no reason, anytime, anywhere.
It happened a few times on launch day. He's like, man, what is this guy's problem with me? And I'm like, dude, you've probably pissed him off like 2 months ago and you're on kill on sight list.
Oh, it's good. It's good stuff. Yeah. I think, it's just, I don't know, the PvP stuff, sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I won't do anything. And like, sometimes like you just walk up to somebody, you just wave. You're just like, all right, we're cool. And we're like, we're getting our stuff done. We will fight later. But yeah, for me, I've been doing all kinds of stuff, getting my runes, get my hunter caught up. Yeah, did our first Sunken Temple, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, just been dotting I's and crossing T's. Honestly, I've been anxiety ridden. Like I don't even know if that's the right way to say it. I've been riddled with anxiety. Every time I get on, I'm like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. Are they going to nerf this before I do this? Like, should I even work up the and I'm like, fuck it. What does anybody else want to do? Okay, I can make, I could cross some shit off if I do that with you. All right, I'll do that. Right. I just I had such a clear vision early on in the first 2 phases of what I needed to get done and in what order. And this time around, man, I am just like clueless.
Bob, you're talking to someone. I literally have, here's my notepad and my pen, and I have a page for all 3 characters, so I know what the fuck to do when I log on to any given one. Because one needs Ashenvale, one doesn't, because it's exalted. Like, I just have to, I literally had to get a notepad, like, to-do list of, like, when on DB Cobber, do this first, because it's most important. And then I've just been working through 3 lists.
Maybe I should do
Especially
that.
3 rogues. It's so confusing with 3 rogues
Oh,
on
yeah.
2 servers. It's like, what am I doing today?
Yeah.
But right now, I am lockpicking at the moment to get Carnage on DB Cobber. So.
Nice. Although I found it, so just a heads up, Kef and me both parsed like a 97 on the number 6 boss before Ereticus. I forget the name. Now you actually have to do it. You can't cheese it and stand behind the wall. But he was using, I think, like you and I talked about this like on stream when we were talking about, but Kef used Honor Among Thieves, and then he used the one that refreshes Slice and Dice, whereas I used Carnage and Honor Among Thieves, but he did just slightly better than me, like as far as parse. And so it's interesting to see that you can do the easy one, but like you and I talked about off of stream, we could hit more buttons, so the other one's more fun for us.
There's a lot of rogues that are upset that like swords and daggers aren't close at the moment, but I got to give the devs a bit of props that at least like you can do Carnage and Hat. You can do you can use both. There's like 4 different versions of 2 runes and how you can combo them, and it's all within like 1% sim damage. So you have choice there whether you want to have Honor Amongst Thieves and press a shitload of finishes, or do you just want to play the Wrath Rogue where you just mutilate, envenom, it refreshes your Slice and Dice, super simple, super easy, and still do good damage. But personally, I like maintaining Rupture and stuff just to be a bit more involved, because I just played Assassination for all of Wrath, and I don't want to go back to just automatically refreshed Slice and Dice.
Well, I don't know. I like bleeds and stuff because I feel like I'm doing something when I have to leave the boss. Like I'm always, as soon as I have to leave or like do some sort of mechanic and move, I love putting the bleed on, right? And making sure that bleed's ticking the whole time, making sure I'm always doing damage to the boss. Like I love that type of gameplay. So I really like that. But are we sure that combat isn't keeping up? Because no one's tested it. As far as I know, any big brain is not tested it. Simon Eyes, he looks at his, I love him to death, don't get me wrong, but he looks at his spreadsheets and his, numbers, and he's not going to waste his time trying things and getting weapons to try things. But with the double hitting blade, adding the other double hit through the combat rogue talent with swords, like I'm not positive, and with Hat, I'm not positive that combat is really out, and I'm interested for somebody to try it and mess with it. And so I don't know.
I hang out in Simon's Discord far too much, much more than what I should. And there are some real sweat lords out there that are trying to move the moon to make swords good, and it's just not keeping up at the moment. But with that said, at the end of it's like anything, if you're 99 with swords, you're doing a lot more damage than the bloke that's 80 passing his mutilate. But
Right.
you could just play daggers and do more damage for your raid. Because if you're 99ing his swords, you're gonna 99 his mutilate as well. So it's just one of
That's
those
half
things.
the
If you
fun
just-
of Season of Discovery.
Well,
No
no,
one knows anything. Anything could be possible.
I'll turn that around on you though,
Yes.
Ubi. If you're 99 on swords, it is not the same as 99 on daggers. It's a lot
Oh.
more competition on daggers. That's a big ass
Yeah,
pool.
but
Whereas like,
daggers are brain dead, Bob.
yeah, but
Fucking
I'm
Baboon
thinking
can play
like,
this.
so anybody in Wrath could have went, like any decent rogue could have went sub and 99 parsed because there was no one parsing it. So like, you know,
Yeah.
if you're one of the like 150 people that tried it, like, and you're a good player, you're probably going to parse pretty good, right? Whereas like
Yeah.
daggers is what everybody's playing. So, you know, to get a good parse, like there's so much more competition in there to do that. So I think you could get a 99 parse. I'm just curious what a 99 parse looks like comparison to damage. You know what I mean? I'm very curious about combat because I think with the runes proper use, like it could be really good with hat now. But it might even be an eviscerate build where you're actually taking the plus 30% eviscerate crit. You know, even though it's a horrible skill, if you're able to eviscerate constantly, like maybe it isn't. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it'll make a comeback. They're not going to let swords be bad forever because there's just too many rogues complaining that swords suck.
But yeah,
In fact,
yeah, I don't know. We had Lubes come in and save the day. How should I say? I should save this for our Sunken Temple talk. Yeah, I'll save it for that. That's basically what I've been doing. Let's move on to time for the news. All right, so a lot of the news is just kind of like an FYI to let you guys know what's going on. So a lot of people don't know that there is a 1,000 rep for Nightmare Incursions Daily Quest, both at Feralas and at Hinterlands. So you can pick that up, and all you have to do is one of the quests, and you get that daily with 1,000 reps. So it's not in Ashenvale. So you have to go to one of those. I just found out about this like a couple days ago. Did you guys know about this right off the bat, or is it something you just found out recently too?
I just learned about it. I didn't know that it was. So I remember when I first got there was like the one quest that was like complete one incursion, and I wasn't really paying attention to the rep at that point because I was just leveling. But the daily is awesome because 1,000 reps pretty significant too.
It's huge. It's huge. They did change the reps, so there's like in Feralas, there's like 100 for the pickup quest, 150 for the kill quest, and then 200 for the boss quest. So the bosses are no joke in there. I tanked one. It was
are you talking about the daily? Sorry, at the
yeah.
message.
Yeah. The dailies in Feralas and Hinterlands for the Nightmare Incursion.
Yeah, I've been jibber jabbering about those like the whole launch, and most of my guild are just like, "What the fuck are you talking about, you moron?" And I'm like, "There is a 1K daily. You can go in there and do one mission, and it completes another thing that is a separate quest that you do once a day that gives 1K rep." So I've on one of my characters, for example, I've figured out that I've done a lap and I've got 12 completed quests. You can just not like, because I only just want to go do the daily every day because I've got so much other shit to do. I have all 12 complete, and you can go there, pick up the daily, hand in any one of your 12 already completed quests, and then complete the daily that you just picked up immediately and not even enter.
Big
You
brain.
just go to- and that way I'm
I didn't
sorted.
know
I'm
that.
sorted for the next like week and a half of just going there, hand in one, do the daily right after because he thinks I just did a mission, even though I did them all 4 days ago, and done. I don't have to go in that shithole
And then log
fight,
out.
like, quests and stuff. Yeah.
Big brain.
So-
I like that. I like that.
And then if you want to just smash the rep, you'll just do laps every day. But I don't have the time. I've got so much other shit to do. So
Yeah, well, Fred told me he went from middle of honored to exalted yesterday, and it was 12 hours. Oof.
yeah,
That's such a grind.
I'd rather just do the dailies. I just do the dailies, especially since the trinket got nerfed.
Yeah, the epic BOE trinket. That
Yep.
one.
Yep, the one that turned you into a weird herbalist
it was
that picked
busted.
weird. Yeah, it was given all kinds of stuff. Although they did come back and say that some of the people were just kind of really lucky, but it was still giving a lot of stuff. So, but that's like, do you do that or do you that's what I was saying. Anxiety has been like super bad because I'm just like, well, I should do this now because I know about this, but they're gonna nerf it in 12 hours. Like, can I get it? In 12 hours. Like, it's just.
yeah. I don't know if it just hasn't.
There's a lot you got to do.
I don't know if it just never reached the casuals' ears about the fact that like some people got that exalted, like gaze into the nightmare thing and made so much gold that like absolutely dwarfs the gold that anyone made early in incursions, and that was the biggest fucking deal in the world. Like Reddit was literally on fire for 48 hours straight because early birds got rich and casuals didn't. But I haven't seen them get their pitchforks out for this, and I can't remember the name, so I'm not hiding their name, but I'm pretty sure someone in our guild in Swamp made like 20k gold technically.
Oh my
If they can sell what they got out of there, they've made 20,000 gold in like a day because they just went in there and smashed it. And it's like that's so much more than the 500 I made on launch at Incursions. But for some reason, they're not getting a witch hunt about this. So I don't know if they just literally haven't seen the video about what happened. But yeah.
It felt like so much gold off the jump. It was so nice. Oh, it was great.
Well, yeah,
but now that you're saying they're making that much gold,
dude, you should have seen the things Edge Masters was dropping, like like epics across, like tons of epics were dropping. Yeah, it was wild, dropping off plants, like plants that nobody else could pick besides people that had this one trinket. Sarth has a video out about it.
Yeah,
a couple days ago.
That's where it got blown out by Sarth's video. But that's where I don't understand if the devs are trying to say no, some people just got lucky. It's like, mate, the statistics on a party of 5 people getting like 10 epics and 20 blues in 40 minutes, they didn't get lucky. Like that's literally 1 in 10 billion odds to see that level of RNG. And there was a lot of parties experience it. You can just come out and say, yeah, fuck, those nodes had like a 5% chance to give you an epic. Whereas like the rest of the world's 1 in 10,000. So,
although the cards are dropping all over the place. We had like 3 cards drop when we did the quest up in Hinterlands to get our green trinket that's like damn near Biss in a lot of ways.
I'm just ignoring the cards existing. I've still got Dark Moon card Greatness PTSD from Wrath, buying 2 of those in phase 1 for 2 rogues. I'm just ignoring Decay and Sandstorm. They don't exist in my sod. Until they get nice and cheap, then maybe I'll look at them.
They should get cheaper because like the cards are dropping, but we had some friends make hundreds of gold off each of those cards. I think if I go there again, I'm going to have the rule of like our 5-man group like splits it because like, I didn't win any of them. Like,
ridiculous amount of gold.
3 different people got a few hundred gold and like, 2 of us didn't get shit. So I'm just like, if I do that type of farm again, I'll just make the rule at the start. As long as everybody's cool, let's just sell this and share it.
I like how if you have shitloads of gold, it doesn't surprise me that they see something that's broken and they go get it. What blows my mind is the guy that had they had 1,000 gold and they spent 1,000 gold to get Sandstorm because they saw it doing 40% of someone's damage, and you go, how do you not realize that's getting nerfed in 15 minutes? Because then it does, and they're like, this is bullshit. I spent all my gold on this card and you nerf it. And it's like, you clearly just don't have like
You should have
good
seen
risk
that coming.
reward.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
he's
you
just
just
covered.
can't analyze the situation whatsoever to not think that it's like Shaman Shield, bro. Fair enough, make a post about it. It was gonna get nerfed. They're not just gonna let shamans do 3k AoE damage. Like
We had friends saying like, "Oh, we have to get on the wild offerings so we can get these cards." And I straight up said, "I'm waiting on the cards. I'm going to see where the nerfs like leave them at, because like it's just not going to be worth it." But I mean, that's another thing that's like scary that's going on right now. And it's got me kind of like upset, if I'm being honest. I don't think I put it in the news, but you're able to get Crusader Enchant to drop right now. And there's one mob in Azeroth that's outside of the dungeon that gives the orbs that you need for Crusader. And if anybody in the game gets that enchant on a weapon, it's going to basically just kill phase 3 for me completely. So I really, really hope the devs just remove orbs now and make it so Crusader only works on level 51s and up. Like, but like it's going to really ruin my day. What?
I'm there right now helping them farm righteous orbs.
Yep, and
there's a lot of guildies there.
4.
Yeah, and
yeah, it's disappointing that they don't like, maybe because it's the weekend and like they're not there at the at the helm to change it. But it's kind of weird how I think I was watching this news on my Friday, or there were whispers of it. I got whispers in DM on Discord, people saying, yeah, we know how to get orbs. And it's like, how do they not get this news as quick as what we do and go, yep, like patch it out? Because I think it's pretty lame if we're just going to have like BIS enchants now, unless they want to come out and say, guess what? There's going to be something better than Crusader for phase 4. There's going to be new 300 patterns that will make it look shit in comparison. And then if it's just BIS for now, then that's all right. But I don't know how they let it through, really.
yeah,
That's what I'm curious about phase 4, what they're going to do with professions, because we're already at 300.
Yeah, well, they said that we're going to get new stuff, and then everyone was like, we got one more epic each, like, or you can craft a few, but one's relevant to yourself. That's it. There's not a single new item outside of the epic. So maybe, and they said that was going to happen this phase, so maybe that's something that had to get pushed back. But yeah, it's the only logical thing I can see. Like, there's no more skill ups to get, unless they can blow my mind if we get to 60 and it turns out you can go to the trainer again somewhere and learn 340 professions, and that would be crazy. But they've got to add new shit in. Like, surely we're going to get just new crazy enchants and stuff at 60, maybe out of raids.
Well, see, that's not really the problem. Like, the problem is that if anyone gets that, it's going to be so few people that get those orbs. It's going to make parsing a joke. If you parsed with it, like, it's going to make you a joke. Like, and then if you can't get it, you're a joke. Like, it'll make everything a joke, unless they take it away, or they could make more mobs drop orbs. Like, that would be fine, right? Like, I'd be down with that. But like, I can get all the other enchants. They just cost a fortune right now, right? I can't get Crusader without having an entire guild's like help, especially now that it's known, like, that mob's going to be camped. When people were doing it before, they were kiting, they were able to kill it, but now that it's known, it's not going to matter, and it's just going to make everything petty and dumb, because the enchant is so much better than anything else on the market. So that's where I'm a little scared and upset about it. And
I might be in the minority, but I kind of just find like I can accept that I literally will not get that this phase, but it doesn't ultimately annoy me that it's in the game. It's just like that. You know what? You fucking super sweat lords that even make me look casual. Go ahead, go fucking live in EPL. Get your orbs.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, like if you want to
Nah.
get to that level of insanity, then go for it. Like it's not like it's easy, and it's not being gate kept. It's just a shitload of effort. Like you got to convince other people to be there, help you farm it as a team, all that shit. That's kind of like right up the MMO vein. That there needs to be some things in the game. It's like the AQ war effort. Not everyone gets to have that mount, and you get to see someone with it, and you go, "You fucking lived on the server for a
Nice.
few weeks here, you animal. Good on you."
And you had a ton of people helping you, whereas I'm not willing to be like, hey guys, can you help me for hours and hours and hours of your day so that I can get something? And I'm never going to help you get it, but I want to get it. And that's where I'm just not a typical streamer, whatever you would call it. But boy, our guild's full of the people that just want you to come. I mean, it was the trinket in phase 1, like from STV. I remember so many big streamers in our guild asking me to come. I was like, no.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
Grandmaster.
I was like, are you going to help me get mine? Probably not. Nope. And I don't want to help everybody get theirs, so I'm not going to ask anybody to help me get mine. Like, fuck that. Like, so
Yeah, I don't know anyone in the guild that well, other than like you guys that I've played with a bit. But it's like I don't know what kind of size name I'm dropping, but it's like Maui's in guild chat right now saying, "I see you guys doing nothing. You need to come help us farm orbs." Yeah, fucking right, mate. I'm lockpicking. I ain't gonna go farm anyone some fucking orbs. if you
not
want
a
your
fucking
Crusader, like,
chance.
find 5 of you that want it, and all of you farm until all 5 of you get your fucking orbs that you need. I'm not in that life of farming for the guild, like spending my whole Saturday morning or Sunday morning like for that cause. Like find people
exactly.
like-minded and help each other out. That don't.
But that's not what's
don't crack the
happening.
whip.
They all have to help each other.
Yeah, I love Maui to death, but that's not going to happen. There's no way everybody's going to get the Crusader enchant. There's no way everybody's going to get the trinket. Like, it's just like when Maui asks for people to do that, I'm like, dude, grab the plebs that are just here because they love all the content creators. Like, I'm not helping you. It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure Twitch chat can help him out.
Yep. I might help you once just to see what it's about, type of deal. But like, I'm not your monkey,
Yeah, I don't really ask anything of anyone when I'm playing the game. Don't want to inconvenience them or make them do anything they don't want to do. So I kind of put myself in the same. Like no one can make me go do a chore for them, kind of. So
I hate doing things that just benefit me. Like we were about to do raid, our like first raid Wednesday night, and people were in chat, and I was like one wild offering from getting my ring, but I pivoted after I found out that San and Table, we weren't gonna have enough time to get them an item, so I was like, all right, well, we got an hour. Let's go do the quests in Hinterlands, and we'll all get the trinket. And chat was like, dude, you were just about to get your thing. And I was like, yeah, but if I took the time to do that, maybe they wouldn't have something cool before raid. And I care more about all of us getting something than just me, where.
Yeah, I'm all about doing things as a group to get people stuff, but not that tier, like that very last 1% of this is an absurd chore.
Well, yeah, and they're the only one that's going to get it. Yeah, they're the only one that's going to get it. Although now I will say there's a lot of people in Swamp that want to be. It's kind of like the Road to Rag situation. So Swamp's looking to, be possibly like one of the main raid is looking to be like, they broke the speed record like just a few days ago. They lost it right after, but still it was a cool thing. Like they've got this main raid that's doing stuff. So there's a lot of people that want to be part of that that aren't going to be able to be in the raid. So I get them helping getting the Crusader stuff, but I just think that shit shouldn't be in the game. I just think it shouldn't be in the game.
It could be to echo. I think I've heard Ale say it a lot. Like, protect us from ourselves. If this isn't in, you wouldn't have players spending their whole weekend in a zone that we're not really designed to be in yet, unless you want to herb or mine. But like, they locked the dungeons for a reason. This is clearly an oversight. There's no way they went, we'll leave it on the courier and see if they find it. They're like, fuck, we didn't even know it was on there. It doesn't even show up on the Wowhead database. Like, there's no collected data of that mob ever dropping it when I checked earlier this week.
I may or may not have sent DMs to multiple people while we were having this conversation about how this is a really bad thing.
Yeah, it would be great. Like, I don't think they ever would, but it would be nuts if they just did what they did with the trinket that they made unique, and they just snapped their fingers and all your Crusader enchants disappear and your orbs are gone. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm not being cynical and wishing for it, but I wouldn't be shocked if they did, because they're like, yo, we didn't want you to have this shit, bro. You gotta give it up. So we'll see.
Yeah,
You had to have known that, right?
I mean, I feel like I feel like it's an obvious, like, you have to know that that's not going to be allowed, but like, I just don't know what's in the minds of the devs, if they'll just be like, okay, like, the only thing, if a bunch of people get it before, the weekend's over and they can do anything, then at that point you just like let us pump and just like, you make all of the mobs, all of the Scarlet Monastery mobs have a chance to, not Scarlet Monastery, but whatever those are, like up in northern Western Plaguelands, all of them have a chance to drop orbs. All of those different things have a chance to drop orbs, and then everybody can kind of get in on it, and then you can buy them off the auction house too, because they're plentiful instead of extremely hard. Like, to buy one right now would probably be what, $5,000? If I'm just rough
I think
guessing,
people are listing them for 2,000.
2,000. Okay. Well,
It's ridiculous though.
yeah, it's a seasonal server. We've said it multiple times. Make that shit worth nothing. Make that shit drop like fucking, and then we can make fun of the sweaties that did it over the weekend. Like, now it's like a 50% drop from every mob, like, make it so it's good. Like, it's easy. Like, that's how I feel, but it stresses me out. All right, well,
we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I mean, I was just gonna say, the sweaties can do what they want, right? But I feel like the sweaties are gonna be sweaty no matter what. Like, they're gonna find some little way to min-max some random thing, right? Don't put a huge enchant behind being sweaty, right? Like, I think that's too much.
It is a very
Just to reward 'em.
significant.
What was that?
I just said, don't reward them for the sweatiness.
Well, I just mean, don't give them such a big game changer for the sweatiness, right? Like, if they want to do something really sweaty to get like 1% extra, crit, or something more minor, I feel like that's different. But I feel like a weapon enchant it's weapon, right, Crusader?
Yeah.
I'm a healer, okay? This is never mine. But
Yeah, like
yeah.
having the big grinds, like with a ton of people, it's cool in the game. But having it unlock such an important thing is kind of, it's
Yeah.
like, why do that? Like I mentioned earlier, the Ardent Dawn, whatever that is, that rep to get the bracer enchants, like that then unlocks the bracer enchants for everybody.
hmm
And those maps aren't crazy. So like that
Right.
grind is fun,
Sure. Yeah.
but like Crusader's so good. It's too good to.
Well, and it's not
It's
like
way-
anybody can get a group together to go do it, right? Like, how high is the mob that you have to kill to get the
skull.
orbs?
It's a skull.
Yeah. So, like,
It's a skull mob, and everything else around it's 58, and they're all elites.
Okay. Yep.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
people, groups of 10 are struggling to kill it.
Like 100% not intentional that it's in there, I guess, is probably the moral of the story
Yeah.
here.
No reason to have that be a farm that people have to do if they want to
Right.
parse those high numbers.
Like,
No
we're
reason.
not going to make you do 40-man raids, but
40
we're going to make
man
you get 40 people
righteous
together
man.
to kill these
Yeah.
this one mob.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
get it.
Well, I think the team will come up with something. I would love to have I would love to have Crusader in the game. It's not okay for it to like be this. I mean, this is gate kept, like, unless you're like a big guild and like the guildies are, okay with just wasting their, 6 hours to get you guys, your top 2 or 3 people the enchant on one weapon. Like, that sounds horrible.
How many orbs do you need?
2.
Oh, you only need 2.
2 orbs and 4 large gleaming shards. Is that what they are? I forget. I know it's
Guild
2 and
chat.
4.
Guild chat is ravenous for this farm right now. This is the most excited I've seen them about anything since I joined the server.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm over here like trying to get it turned off. Hope they don't G kick me. All right, so on the next piece of news, just to let you guys know, there's a ring. There's a couple rings, but there's these rings you could buy. You could buy the first one at Friendly, the next one at Honored. I don't know. I haven't got past Honored, so I don't know if there's a higher level one or whatever, but it looks like there is. But you can buy these rings from the quartermaster for the Nightmare Incursions, and they, on an hour cooldown, allow you to basically warp to someone in the Nightmare Incursions. So if someone's doing the incursions, you want to come help them, come do your daily real quick, you can just warp right to them once an hour. And this is something a lot of people don't know about, and I wanted to just let people know because it's a pretty cool little trick.
It's so convenient. It's like I was on my druid that I'm leveling up, and I just opened my little like looking for group add-on, and it said looking for more incursions. And I think I was in Tenaris. I told him invite, and then I just used my ring, and I was there in 25 seconds.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very nice that they included that. It's well thought out because I think I was having a complaint or a whinge in Discord with my guildies saying how the travel this phase is just insane.
Oh my god.
It's a lot of travel.
Like back and forth all over the world. Like I don't even know. I've changed where my hearth is 4 times because I leave it somewhere for 2 days and I go, no, that place sucks. And then it turns out that you just need 4 hearthstones to get around. But yeah, the rings are massive help. But unfortunately, I'm usually like, I don't really just get random pugs. Like I'll just go either do it solo or with guildies, and I'm always the guildie that will be like, all right, I'm flying. You guys can port to me soon. And then I'll just fly at AFK.
I have a question. Why isn't there some sort of warp reward for STV? Like, why not attach that to something in there? Like, that's one of the worst ones to like warp, but I guess I don't know. Like that's one of the worst ones, and I want to do STV because I want to get my stuff done, but I'm like, in the middle of something, I'm like, I don't want to go do it right now. But if I could just warp
and before
there,
you notice, it's 5 minutes before the event. You're like, I'm not going to get there in time and form a group. Chance.
So I mean, why don't we throw something in there too? Like,
Can you only warp to somebody who's inside the Nightmare Incursion? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay. But it can be any one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's just more shit to carry in our bags, though, too.
I mean, a lot of people have a second account. I've been pretty tempted for a second account, and I'll just go park an alt there.
That's
Port to myself.
I have a second account that I put on my other monitor right here. if I want to go to incursions. Like solo incursions aren't too bad right now, to be honest.
Nah.
If you want to do
Decent levels.
if you want to do a second account, just make sure that you attach it to your main BattleNet account, because if you make a new one, remember you can't trade or anything
30
for 30 days.
Yeah.
But I think if you make it on your same BattleNet account, it shouldn't be stipulated to that. But yeah. All right. So okay, the Discoverer's Delight experience was increased. This happened a bit ago, but that's the 50% experience for just anything, quests, whatever. They moved that to 75, and they nerfed the experience you get from the Nightmare Incursion quests. I don't know how has that felt fine. Like, it doesn't really. I haven't worked up any characters since they made this change.
The mindless little mob grinding inside of the incursions, because those elites aren't like real elites. You can solo them relatively easily. Those are giving ridiculous XP.
The ones in Ashenvale?
In Ashenvale, on my level, it was 40 at the time, but I soloed one of the trees who's an elite, and I got 7,100 XP for one mob.
Jeez.
It was ridiculous.
You really want to do just full laps now and kill everything as probably like a party of 2 or even 3, and the XP is still nuts.
7,100. That sounds absurd.
It was awesome. Well,
was it like 710?
No, 7,100 from one of those elites.
But you were rested, okay.
I was rested, and the 75%, and I think I had my 3% for my sleeping bag.
That's what I didn't understand about like launch week. It truly wasn't that bad to do the kill quests if you could get tags. The collections ones were best because you like, but as soon as everyone started doing collections and no one was killing shit, you're like, if the mobs are there, fucking kill them, because they're like, no one's killing them anymore. And we were getting like 350k doing the kill quests, which made it a bit more fun, you know what I mean, rather than just doing the laps. So
me and my group did the laps on launch and really got after it. We leveled so fast just because there was no competition. Yeah. It was great.
I just don't know why. This has been in the game forever. Quests where you're picking up an item have always been like, why didn't these just come out in the beginning with the collection quest being a fourth of the XP that all the other quests were? I just don't understand. Fourth of the XP, fourth of the gold. I don't understand why they were all the same amount. Like, you need to put like effort level for quest reward, and I don't know what the thinking was or thought process. I'd love to hear. I feel like it was just an oversight. Like, the collection quest should have from the beginning been just like a fourth of the XP.
I think we spoke about it when we were doing the princess runs, like off pod or whatever. And it's like they learnt this lesson in the past. I can't remember which zone it was, but there was a zone where you did dailies that you could get XP from, and the collection ones gave dick all XP compared to the ones that made you kill 10 things, excluding the actual killing XP. Like, the devs learnt this lesson once in WoW history before.
Okay, so it was you that said it. I thought it was Kipso that said it to us. So it was you that said that. Okay, yeah, because that's what opened my mind to that. I was like, yeah, duh.
Yeah. I don't know, like, maybe someone with a more encyclopedic memory of every part of this damn game, but I know for a fact that there's been like very similar things to incursions where, go pick up this scroll awarded like 1/3 of the XP of kill 10 dwarves. Like, and they figured that out fucking 10 or 15 years ago.
I know. It just seems like such a huge oversight.
100% a mistake in hindsight.
It still feel good to level.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it like, for you guys that have leveled, is it still the BIS way?
I don't know if it's BIS, but it's hard to find a clean 5-man group to do Zul'Farrak for a couple hours.
And one that synergizes.
You can do it solo. It's just slower, and it's actually a bit dangerous solo, but the convenience, like, it's as good as a dungeon grind. It's not as boring as a dungeon grind, and you don't need to definitely have 5 people to do it. So super flexible, and it's still, I mean, I'm banging this drum. It's new. It's not ZF, so I'm down for it.
The downside to it is
no, you dirty sweaty. Fuck you, you dirty sweaty.
play the game how you're supposed to.
Yeah, sorry guys,
the
I'll go.
downside behind it,
I love how
you get tanks rolling in with no defense rating into a raid because they leveled all the way through incursions. You have no one with weapon skill either.
we had to help our tanks the night before raid. We were doing princess runs, and we were like, we need to pull all the mobs because they need their defense to get up before raid.
Yeah, I had a guildie say like, "Oh, it's fine because the rune makes me crit immune," and I'm like, "But don't you still get crushed to shit without defense?"
Yep,
I
you
think.
still do.
And then he was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." And I think he
didn't
just
think
went and
about
let,
that.
like a million mobs beat on him.
Oh man.
Mhm.
Well, what are you gonna do? All right. So the next part of it is kind of important, and Lubes actually fell into this this category. So there's one rune everybody has to do the same thing for, and it's the Wild Gods questline rune. But if you're somebody who's looking stuff up, you might have looked up, and that rune might not be anything that you need, right? It might not be something you need, but you don't know that Wild Gods quest or rune quest in Fellwood opens up a gear vendor with an extremely broken trinket for both casters and melee, a extremely good ring for melee. It's got like 4 or 5 items that are amazing. You can also, with 10 wild offerings, buy a bag with a random Dark Moon Fair card in it. This is a really good vendor, and so you might have skipped this. It'll be in the notes, but Wild Gods Quest is like something, whether you need the rune or not, you should do it because it's a really good way to get gear right now, and there's lots of runs going all over the place to collect these. So
And if you're going to that quest, don't fly all the way north to Fellwood. Fly to Ashenvale and then run up.
good
Run
tip.
down in Fellwood, you will die many a time.
It looks like the same distance, but it's not. It's not the same distance at all. The Fellwood run is longer and more perilous.
Yeah.
Because now everybody's fighting for a song flower. But just wanted everybody to know that. You got all your rewards, Zuby?
No, I've still got to do a heap on DB. I still got to get. I'm a few away from getting the trinket, and then I'll probably get the ring as well. So
What is the rogue rune that you get?
that one is combat potency.
Combat potency.
Is that any good? I don't know, rogue.
It's what I use in PvP. I don't use it anymore in PvE though. I use it because Honor Among Thieves works now, so it's just like that's all you should use now.
It's competitive with Honor Amongst Thieves. It's just the more brain dead meta. Like they're probably almost exactly as good. That's the one where just your offhand hits and you get energy sometimes, and you run that with cut to the chase that refreshes slice and dice, and you're just cruising. But yeah, I prefer.
It's awesome for PvP.
Yeah,
Like it's my go-to for that slot in PvP.
I quite like Honor Amongst Thieves because it works with your own crits. So even in solo PvP, you can get 3-point mutilates without having Seal Fate, or if you're just PvPing in your raid spec, you can give yourself 4-point mutilates, which is pretty powerful in PvP to just constantly have fuckloads of points.
Dude, rogues are smacking in PvP right now.
Yeah, see, I prefer the other just to have more energy to do gouges and different things. Like I prefer having more energy in the PvP area. So, but I haven't tried Honor Among Thieves. Should try Hat in like an STV or something sometime. But it's still lots of track too.
All the rogues are just like classic rogue players. They love that sub control, lock you down forever. But sometimes I go to STV, I don't even bother to change to my PvP spec because the raid spec just deletes people. Like tanks, like druids, I don't give a fuck if you turn into a bear and venom will eat your ass anyway. Like you're just destroying them. Like it's crazy damage at the moment.
See, I'm a much more defensive PvP. I have a weird spec where I have like I've got riposte, to disarm people. I'm deep into subtlety, but I'm very.
Those guys put me off when I run into them. Like,
dude,
don't fucking arm me, you weasel. Come on,
dude. I could go one-on-one though with so many different classes because of it. I also have the 4% less chance to hit for casters, which saves my life all the time because casters don't run a lot of hit, and because they only need 3% in PvE, so our PvP, so a lot of them just won't even run hit, and then it helps a lot. I don't know. I've got a lot of defense, but I use the gun ones. I don't use in Venom or Deadly Brew. I use the gun ones, and I just use regular good old instant poison on my instant poison. Or if I'm in that's if I'm in STV. If I'm in a BEG, that I'm using wound poison and or crippling poison too with it, but oftentimes just wound to try and stop it from healing, just to help the crew. But the gun ones, I was doing it today at STV. Lubes was up top. I'm going down, and I'm just stunning the shit out of everybody. And it doesn't matter if a rogue does evasion; he can't dodge a gunshot. So, I stun him even through evasion, and it just takes away their cooldown. It's beautiful to do it in a group setting. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't play the same spec in a 1v1 situation though, but taking away somebody's weapon, stuns for days, this is just so huge in group play. So I love it. Right.
It's fun.
Yeah, one last thing to any rogue that so there's this thing called Band of the Wilds. This is actually I don't know who all it would matter for melee hunters too. People will look and think Band of the Wilds from Wild Offerings is exactly the same as the Princess Ring. It almost looks exactly the same. The big difference is the chance to hit on the Blackstone Ring from Princess is melee only, whereas the Band of the Wilds is chance to hit with spells and attacks, which means chance to hit with poisons for rogues. And yeah, so it's a little something. If you have both Band of Wilds and you're going to use another ring for some reason, Band of Wilds over Blackstone Ring, I think, for pretty much every class except for maybe Warrior. I don't think Warrior has anything classified. No, even for Warrior, Taunt is a spell. Yeah, sorry. It was just a weird tangent just to let people know.
Can you run both of those rings?
Yeah.
Is there another ring that's easily accessible that's much better?
The Epic one, maybe, but I'm not positive.
The Epic it's a very, very small upgrade for us over the other two, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Rogue, you just run both those.
Yeah, you'll end up with Blackstone Ring farming your Wild Offerings on Princess to buy the other ring anyway. It's really comfortable.
Yep. And then same with the Trinket.
Rogue. Yeah, one last Rogue shout out. Don't sleep on Carnage in PvP. It's absolutely fucking insane rupturing someone, and both your mutilates are now hitting clothies for 800 both hands.
No, dude.
One-shotting a mage.
No, dude. If you're in my spec, you have extra damage and a cheaper Garrote. So you open with Garrote, mutilate.
Do we get the Silence Garrote in Classic?
Huh?
It's not the Silence Garrote, is it? That's TVC.
No.
Oh,
I don't think so, yeah.
Give us that. That'll be fucking spicy.
No, dude. You'll
kill mages before the silence is over.
Cloak, baby. Give me Cloak. And then you Shadow Priestess are fucking done. All right.
Yeah.
But that was that. The next thing is the new... So engineering. You used to have to get all the stuff. Basically, the play was you worked engineering up... at 225, you had to choose Goblin or Gnomish. You would go Gnomish. you would get all the recipes for Gnomish, get all of your items because they were bind on pickup, so you had to make them yourself, but they weren't. You had to be a gnome or a goblin to make the things, but you never had to be a gnome or a goblin engineer to use them. So you would work up Gnomish, you would get all of the different little toys, and then you would drop in. The only way to switch was to drop engineering completely, go back to 1. Then you work all the way back up to 225. Then you'd go goblin. Then you'd make all the goblin stuff, and then you'd be set. Thank God they're not making us do that this time around. Now there is a quest line so that you can be both goblin and gnomish engineering at the same time. I have not looked into it, but I wanted you guys to know. The link will be in the description for what you need to do, but that's a pretty huge change from the way it used to be. So a little less sweaty.
Thank
Yeah,
God
it's
for that.
convenient.
That's on my to-do list to do. I don't have quite the nice notebook that Ubi does, but I got a mental little notebook that I gotta get my engineering and my leatherworking up.
I got my leatherwork up today.
I'm working my leatherworking right now.
Nice.
Looks really active.
I'm so lazy for it. I just got them to exactly high enough to get my epics crafted, and that's it. I'm not taking them much further. But I did just pick up enchanting on my main after changing, and then I heard that it's like the most dog shit profession this phase because the sigil's on a cooldown and you lose it on death and all this shit.
Oh.
But I just wanted something different. I can't throw fucking sappers for like the millionth time. I'm over it. So I just try something new.
Yeah, they've made a lot of the other professions very, yeah. They've done
They
a pretty
need to
good
show
job.
love.
Yeah.
They need to show love to cooking, fishing, and first aid next phase. That's my only goal.
Especially fishing for lubes here.
I need something. Like if they launched feasts, that'd be cool. Why not? Right?
Yeah,
Throw a
I-
feast in at
yeah.
level 60.
I don't think people wouldn't get upset with that, surely, and it would just be something cool.
Oh, there will be some people upset. Come on.
Yeah.
Feast would be awesome.
And I think it could just be like, an extortionate, like make it fucking a 100 gold feast. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
make it a hefty thing, but as a raid, you'd be saving gold if everyone
Mhm.
and make the mats. The mats could just be like 4 squid, 4 of this worm, 4 of that fish that are like the end product that they'd want to use anyway,
Mhm.
and make sure that it all gets combined, and then that makes sense. That's a feast.
Make
Yeah,
feasts
Everyone use it.
give you all the world buffs.
That might be too far. that might be a step too far.
I mean, dude, the world buffs feel so good, though. I'll talk about it when we go into the raid discussion, but it's like night and day what I can do with full consumes or just world buffs without any consumes.
Yeah.
It's night and day. Oh my God. I found that out. All right. So the next little piece that I wanted people to know, some people might not know, is the new world buff drops in Booty Bay and ZG Island. But what me and Lubes found out today is that the buff drops anywhere in STV. We were literally at, okay, I guess I can't say that because the boss was at ZG. I wonder if ZG, that area, is another area to get it. That could be the case too.
I've gotten it just standing on the Zep Tower in Gromgol.
Okay, so then maybe it is across the whole thing, but this new world buff, guys, is out of this world. Like it's
crazy.
It is absurd. It is 5% crit, 8% stats, and then some other stuff too. I know it's spell damage and maybe some attack power too. I'm not sure.
I want to say it's like 60 something spell damage, but that 5% crit is that's the money.
Crit and then the 8 stats. Like I keep telling
It's huge.
people to watch out for like gear that's attack power only and no stats. Like you're losing out a ton with kings and and this world buff by using that type of gear, because attack power does not, like, that's not considered a stat. That doesn't get buffed.
There are some pieces in the game right now that are like 32 agi, and it's like a silly amount of just the raw stat that people are like wanting the attack power, wanting the raw spell power for.
Yeah, so I just want everybody to know this is where you get it, if you didn't know. And
it's dropping pretty regularly too.
It is dropping regularly now. Yes, definitely. Well, depending on your server, probably depending on your server. All right, the next thing is, if you go to the Nightmare Incursions in Feralas or Hinterlands, every quest you get these emerald chips, and as far as I know from right now, all they do is they're the currency to buy the epic gear you get later on when you get higher rep. I really wish they would instill a way to use the excess to, like, maybe 5 of them give you 500 rep or something like that. Like something, because like you might only want like a couple items from the thing, and by the time you hit Exalted, if you're doing it in Feralas and Hinterlands, you're going to have way more chips than you need. So it'd be nice to just speed up that grind with some sort of like way to turn them in, or just turn them in for gold later or something. But have you guys seen this? Has anybody bought any of the epic stuff?
I'm not up there yet.
Yeah, I'm not either.
It's another thing on my mental notebook. Like you were mentioning, Bob, there's a lot of things that we got to do.
I know,
it's just
crazy.
additive to that. Kind of fun, though. I think that makes the week lockout for Sunken Temple feel a little bit better.
Makes it feel so much better. If we had to go 3 days, like, we would have done another raid without me having the dagger from STV, which is huge jump in damage, right? Like, so I'm so happy for the week-long lockouts. I don't think anybody has anything to say about the chips. All right. So this next one is just fun. Ompy, the guy who started our guild swamp, good old Ompy, had some fun in Warsong Gulch. And if you guys know about the bush and the box thing you could buy from there's so many reps to talk about. What is it called? From the Waylaid Supplies rep. If you got revered, you could buy a box trinket or a bush trinket, and you could turn into a box or a bush. And it's freaking hilarious, but even more hilarious is Ompy went into Warsong Gulch, grabbed the flag, and turned into a bush. Therefore, no longer being able to see the flag, and everybody was just running around in the BG for like an hour and a half, not knowing where the flag was, and it was just in a bush in the middle of the battlefield of Warsong Gulch.
That's funny. I'm gonna have to watch.
Too good, dude. It's too good. Oh my gosh.
Can you still get targeted as a bush?
You can't tab target to them. You can click on them, which is good that you can't tab target to them. But like, because then why would you even get it? But you can't see a name. You can't see anything. Like, I think it's a cool thing, but you probably shouldn't be able to use it when you're holding the flag.
Yeah. Did they have
probably
fix
drop
that?
the flag?
I'm sure they've probably fixed it. I don't see that they've fixed it though yet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I haven't
How
seen
mad
anything.
would you be if you were in that BG?
Oh, and you're just running around.
I'm just mad generally at Warsong Gulch because, like,
Yeah, you are.
I feel
You don't hide
We're
it well.
I don't try to hide. Like Warsong Gulch would be better if you always saw the enemy flag carrier on your map, or at least after a few minutes of them holding it. And I don't mean like No, because they would just drop it and somebody else would pick it up. They would find a way to game that. No, I mean, once it's been picked up from your spot and not been returned, that shit should just be on the map. And like then I would think Warsaw Gold should be a lot better. But there's so many people that know how to hide their back into like the map and into the mountains and stuff, and it's dumb.
I've recently learned all of the fun jumps on my druid to get on top of tree stumps that no one else
Be a
can
horrible
reach.
person.
See,
Oh yeah, it's great.
If I was a druid, I'd probably like Warsaw Gulch more. I'll be honest, like it makes it fun, but yeah. But I thought that was hilarious that just
did you see the clip of Josh discovering the new PvP meta trinket?
Mm-mm.
The ST trinket that turns you into a grub. You can cast all your spells and kill people as a grub, and you can even stealth as a rogue. So there's just grubs appearing, like the massive white witchetty grubs are just appearing from stealth and killing people in Felwood.
Oh yeah, you
so
could do
hilarious
that
to
with
watch.
the trinket from Nomer that turns you into one of those trogs.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it was
so
great. I
funny.
was a trog, but in boomkin form, throwing up like 600 DPS. It was awesome.
Where's this trinket that turns you into a grub? You said STV?
ST, like in Sunken Temple. It's a
Sunken
raid trinket.
Temple, okay.
It hexes yourself and you turn into one of the big white grubs. But he's just killing people on the streets of Felwood as a
I bet that's hilarious.
I gotta res that next raid.
Yeah, that's my whole phase soft res. That's all I want. If I finish with nothing but that trinket, I'll be happy. I just want to kill people as a grub all around the world. I saw Saf commented on his clip saying like 10-man grub Warsaw Gulch meta incoming. So I'm hoping some streamer
that would be
can get him
awesome.
in. It'll be so hilarious to watch.
That is funny. Okay, that's funny. All right. Next is so that was account restrictions, which we already talked about. Oh, and this one, a lot of people I think do not know. There are shoulder enchants in the game, guys. There's a this will be in the description, but there's a craftable flask of nightmarish mojo, craftable by alchemists, and you buy this, and then you can go to ZG Island, the same place that you get your ZG flasks, which do not persist through death. I said that last time, but they don't. I guess it was a bug,
though, right?
I think it was a bug that they didn't. Like, I haven't seen any like blue clarification on them.
I saw Agran post a tweet that it was accidentally put in the blue post that they were supposed to persist through death, and that they were never supposed to persist. They did change that you can now hold 2 of them.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
yeah.
I bet you the reason that the devs screwed up is because in original vanilla, when the flasks first came out, when the ZG ones first came out, they did persist through death, but specifically because of the one that gave you 20% movement speed, they had to roll that back and not have it persist through death, because BGs, when people would use those in BGs, it was absurd.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that was changed. So for like the first like few weeks of those ZG flasks at level 60 being out, they did persist through death. It just caused way too many problems throughout the rest of the game. Like, yeah, but these don't do speed. So like, it's just anytime you add speed, like that is something that really, really, like you saw it with Overwatch. Like the reason Lucio was so good was just speed, period. Like he gave the team
with the
speed.
BFD buff in phase 1.
Yeah, true. Yep, exactly
it felt
that.
so bad when you didn't have the BFD buff.
Yes.
Like in Warsaw Gulch, when you'd go 10v10 and you would wipe, you're not winning. They move faster than you. You can't beat them.
So my bet is that somebody working on the team was working off the original notes, and that's why they accidentally put that in. But this is the shoulder in enchants. One of them is 15 attack power for your shoulder slot item. One is damage and healing for 9. And one's healing for 8 for 18. So if you're gonna, you get it from ZG Island. I That's what I call it. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's right there at the northwest of Stranglethorn Vale. So yeah, but like this is something you probably want to. I've looked at the prices. You probably want to wait until you have your like epic crafted shoulders to put these on. So, but they are in the game. You have a question, Buck?
No, ding, 300 leatherworking just happened.
Damn, congrats. Well, that's another thing I should tell everybody. You only need 250 to make your epic shoulders of any.
This whole time, man. Since 6 o'clock. Oh my gosh.
But hey, you got it. Yeah, you have it done. You have it done.
Yeah, so worth it.
All right, well, that is the news, dudes. Let's move on to.
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right, dude, Sunken Temple. Let's talk about it. Who wants to go? Like I've been twice. Who wants to start? Like
I enjoy it so much.
It's fun. Dude, going back to 20-man rating, fun.
It's great.
It's a big adjustment, though.
It is.
From even after the nerfs, going from like a 10-man BFD and a 10-man Nomer to just a 20-man, I think was a big change for a lot of people. And then I think even after the nerfs, I think the difficulty level, and I don't even know if it's the difficulty level, it's just getting 20 people on the same page as opposed to only having to get 10 people on the same page.
I think difficulty wise, a lot of people like to scream at the nerfs and be all angry at it. But I missed a guild raid this week. So I went with a full pug.
Mhm.
And I didn't know anyone in the group. No one knew everyone else. And
Were you guys in Discord or was it just?
yeah, we were in Discord. that would be terrible. But like,
yeah, right.
it was hard enough to where the bosses didn't fall over,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like, I don't know, it felt like a good spot for like full pug, and like it's in a spot where the full guilds and the really good guilds can like then be better through either speed or parses. But as a full pug, it's like a good level of difficulty to try to wrangle 19 other people in. I enjoy it.
Well, Ed, there were some like for instance, we talked about it like that sixth fight with the dragon where you have to go down under. Like that was actually buffed quite a bit because now you can't cheese it by just going in and just going and hiding.
That's my favorite fight in the entire instance.
Yeah,
That fight
was
so fun.
On that fight for us.
Yeah.
We're knocking our
The
heads
final
against the
phase.
We
wall.
were going to keep trying that same strat over and over. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we can tell that. So lubes. So I was struggling. Like I had anxiety. I was doing loot, and people didn't understand +1, and they were thinking I was ripping them off, and everybody's like on my ass, and I'm just like, It's like, so I was struggling, and Lubes is in my chat. He's like, dude, no, you can't do the cheese strat anymore. And I was like, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then he jumps in Discord. And he's like, he talks to Move, who's the actual raid leader of our raids. Like I do everything else except for actually raid leading, explaining the fights. I do make some calls sometimes to like, for like battle reses or interface or stuff of that nature, but it's mostly Move. So Lubes jumps in, he's like, Move, can you listen to me real quick? And I could tell Move was like, yes, thank God, tell me something. like he didn't say it like that. He was like, yes, you will have the floor. And Lubes told us, when the strategy's changed, now you got to go down. You got to have, somebody actually go up. Like you want to pump on the boss while you're down there, blah, blah, blah. So we actually were able to beat that boss because of Lubes only, because we would have kept trying to.
Well, so you guys, the first poll, there was no buffs, you guys didn't do anything. And you guys the strategy, it like half worked. And then you guys
It
got
did
down to
half
the
work,
final
yeah.
phase, and then you didn't have enough DPS because people were dead.
Well, but you
So the next
explaining
pull-
why it half worked was huge, because you were like, dude, you are going down to the nightmare, but you're just happening to like hit the fire right as you do that because you killed them all on the spot. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, now I understand the mechanic.
And then I don't know who made the call, but the call to unboon, and then everyone just started cranking.
I think
Dude.
Bob said, I'm going to unboon or whatever. Somebody else said they're going to unboon. Why not? And it was a good idea.
Yeah, somebody else said it. And then I was like, oh, well, dude. And then somebody said, yeah, but Dark Moon Fair. And then I was like, oh, wait, well, I can get Dark Moon Fair for another 5 days. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I am unbooting. So a bunch of people unbooned. And then I will say this is crazy about how much those 3 world buffs matter. I parsed 60s to 70s the entire night. And then I unbooed. And I parsed 60s to 70s using like every consume that I could, right? I guess I wasn't using like Mongoose. I was using like the 25 Agi. Like I should have been using Mongoose, but I was using 25 Strength. I was using like the thing that gives you more spell damage. I was using all kinds of shit. Like using grilled squid, using every buff that I could. And I was parsing like 60s and 70s. And then we go and we like I don't know, maybe 7 to 10 of us unbooed for this fight. I have no buffs left. And I go in and I pull over a K DPS and parse a 97. And I was the guy that had to go up and wake everybody up too. So it was just like, holy shit, man, world buffs are fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's super nice for Boomkin, because Boomkin, you get like 50% more damage on your crits, and I get 10% crit from all the world buffs combined.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well, then you think about Songflower's 5%, but you don't think about the fact that it's also 25 of each stat, which is even bigger than at 60. Like that's like 25 of each stat is like having, depending on your class, is like having like 2 to sometimes 4 extra pieces of gear. Like if you're like a feral druid, it's like having 4 extra pieces of gear. Like just having that plus 25 stats.
Double kings.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
And those 25 stats get buffed by kings and by the world buff. Like it's absolutely insane. And so yeah, we did that. But let's go back to the start. Like Ubi, what was your first your first one like? First or second?
We went in like our guild roster is pretty ordinary compared to like what we had in Wrath, so we're kind of just chilling. But we still got a heap of good players. But we literally went in blind. I guess I'm like technically a raid leader, and no joke, it was like, all right, we like to just fuck around on the first one, the whole discovery shit. It was me just saying, like first boss, there's going to be pillars that fall from the roof. When he does like thunderclap, you're going to fly backwards, stand in front of a pillar. And then we just pulled. And that was it. That's all they get. 7 seconds pull. And we killed that.
Did you hear the new tech?
What? Just killing him before he casts a spell with full well buffs, or
new lip and you don't get pushed back. Everybody, make sure you talk to your raid and make sure everybody's not lipping. Just heads up, you're gonna wipe because you're not gonna kill any pillars, and the boss is gonna be way too hard, and you're gonna wipe because everybody uses a lip. Heads up to everybody on that one.
Like we went in last Monday our time, so Sunday for you guys, and like that was relatively early, and we got in there. Like we did 6 of 8. The only thing that I'm annoyed about the nerfs, like I was annoyed that they did it. Other than the first one was necessary, but the second wave and then the third wave of nerfs that just neutered everything. At first I was pissed off with it, But more than anything, I was just pissed off at the timing because we only got to do 6 of 8 because we had a much harder raid. If we're going to go in and probably one-shot the whole place with me not explaining jack shit to anyone because it'll be easy.
I don't
But
know
we
if it's
couldn't
that
go-
easy though.
No, like for us, like we'll kill it for sure. We'll
Okay,
kill
for
everything
you.
tomorrow.
Okay. Gotcha.
For us. But we couldn't go. We didn't have enough people available to go back in on Tuesday, and they nerfed it between Monday and Tuesday. So we missed doing 8 of 8 the first week because they nerfed it too late in our lockout window, which is the only thing that annoyed me. They should have left it hard for the first lockout. And
Yeah,
then
they should have.
everyone gets a clean slate this week. That's my only gripe with it.
Yeah.
And other than that, I reckon it's the best raid that they've made so far. I love being back to 20 man. 10 man for me was like, I didn't even try. I never even tried to pass. If I got like a 99, then whatever. But I didn't give a shit about 10 man's like being a sweater because it just felt like cool.
You couldn't have all your
we're
buffs.
in Ubers. Yeah. That was something I was annoyed about. Phase 1 and 2 was bringing more and more buffs, and we're limited to 10 man. Like, cool, you're a rogue in Noma. That's shit enough as it is, but you don't have a boomy or a enhancement shaman. Fucking just AFK, bro. You're doing no damage at all without their debuff. So, but now 20 man, you get everything pretty comfortably, and mechanically the boss fights are mad. But yeah, I haven't even got to do our second run. We're going in tomorrow because somehow it seems like Mondays works for the guild better now. So, but it's got its benefits. We get to soak up all the meta that everyone else has found out in the last few days, and we'll go in tomorrow and smash it probably.
Yeah, I think we talked about last week in our scuffed podcast we did. We talked about how the devs like might have felt bad and just nerfed it for the people, that they thought they would kill themselves, but it was really dumb that they just nerfed it on the fly. Like no even time gate to tell people. Like the world first was basically ruined because they just stealth nerfed it in the middle of nothing. Like it should have stayed for that first week period.
Well, I mentioned this to Josh, and I think he's going to bash it out tomorrow with some guys on his pod. But my problem with why they thought the raid was so hard, and this might upset some players, is that the casuals have never. This is the first time they've even got to raid the first lockout because everyone got to level so quick. This is the butterfly effect of everyone getting to 50 so quick that. Bit rude, but I'm just saying it casually. Like shitters got in. They were complaining about pot prices, and it's like, brother, if you ever got to Noma in like 3 days, this is just how it is. Like you didn't get Noma for 2 IDs when everything got cheaper. This is what it's like to get in the launch.
That's such a good
ID.
point.
And
I haven't heard anybody else say.
And they stomped and said it's too hard, and it's like you were never supposed to be here. You're never here. Like, and you can see by the end of the very first lockout, like Noda and stuff, go check their logs. It's fucking grey passes because usually casuals get to stand on the shoulders of the nerds that went there early, bash their heads against it, and they get to come and just go, here you go. It's on a platter. This is what you're supposed to do. We practiced it all week and found out for you. But now they were in there just wiping because no one knew shit. And even now, like your strategies have min-maxed to the point where we're all doing twice as much damage as what Noda were. They're all grey passes, and it has nothing to do with like the wrong strategy and shit. They were just undergeared, no runes, and didn't know exactly what to do. Now the same players go in and smash it. I don't think it needed the level of nerfs that it did, especially that third wave. But that's just all my theory. Like I just think we could have just let the players develop their own strategies, and we would have made it twice as easy if we just let it bake for another 48 hours. But yeah. It is what it is, and apparently it's easy now. So, yeah.
Well, it wasn't easy for us.
I upset them. Yeah, but that's what, it wasn't easy for us either. But at the end of the day, like, the council fight, I just got some guide up, and it just told me the one ability all of them did. I didn't even tell them what they did until we saw that one, because we didn't know the order. But it's like, all right, Zolo. What the fuck he has the smash ability. All right, guys, if he starts casting this, run away. We one-shot it. We didn't even wipe on it. And it was like, oh, yeah, all right, they're undead. Shackle him. Frost trap him. And, we just winged it. How hard can a raid be when we're not even a good guild? We're pretty average now. How hard was the raid truly if we're wiping once and then killing stuff?
So for us, the reason we didn't get past 6 of 8... So Apricot Cat she's such a great girl. She she did me a solid, and her guild second raid didn't have anybody for the first week, and people still didn't believe in rogues. The swamp raids that they had made had one rogue
Rightfully
in
so.
each of the runs, and like they still didn't understand the power of the rogue, and
That's just the meta. Like the fact that the earliest raids went in there with just whatever leveled the quickest, so they were just full of mages. And you look at the logs now, going, Jesus Christ, we should have taken 12 rogues.
Well, and
We would have smashed it.
Swamp for their first two runs, that first run had the cream of the picking. They had, they had 8 rogues signing up for both raids, and they only put one rogue in each raid because they just went with last phase's meta, right? So I wasn't able to get in a run, and I tried to make a run. We had enough people, but we were 2 healers short, and I looked for an hour and a half, like an hour prior to raid starting, and then half an hour after we started to form, and I couldn't find even one healer. And I was like, guys, I'm not going to have you guys walk in this raid, waste your lockout, and just not get anything done. So we canceled it. Then April Kit Kat, she gets me in her second group, and I go in, and it was fucking I was like, holy shit. So by the time we got to the 5th boss, I had been the number 1 DPS on 2 fights and the number 2 DPS on two fights out of the 5 fights, and I was like, dude, I think rogues are back. And I wasn't even using hat. I wasn't even using Honor Among Thieves, and I was like, okay, I think we're back. And I had a great time with that. But then they did even more nerfs the next time, and we brought in our own raid. But just like the raid I went to with April Kit Kat's guild, there was just a lot of explaining the fight prior. Like our raid on Wednesday night, I mean, the majority of people, over 50%, hadn't run the raid prior. So it was a lot of explaining, a lot of learning how to going up to 20 man. There were a bunch of people we didn't know. We didn't know how they played. We didn't know what their tendencies were. We just we weren't a galvanized group, and so it was just a lot of explaining, a lot of learning. We also had we had a friend stealth pull a few times. Won't name names, but we love you. We love you. But the stealth pull happened a couple times, and that just added more running back. So there was. It was definitely not easy. I think a lot of people, because of the nerfs came in, and all the content creators were like, "Oh, it's a pushover now." I think a lot of people thought that it was going to be super easy when they walked in, and found out, oh, you still need to do stuff though. It's not like you just walk in and it just falls over type of deal.
Yeah, I still think, in hindsight, we're also good at developing a game once we've already seen what we got. But for us, we raided for 3 hours. I don't think we wiped on anything more than twice. And just because you don't know how hectic the trash was, we did some massive pulls, but it turned out that it was we probably didn't have enough AoE to do it any faster. But so I raided for 3 hours. We did 6 of 8, and I didn't wipe on anything more than twice. Maybe it wouldn't have been so hard if I didn't spend probably 2 hours and 20 minutes killing fucking trash, because there's so much trash in that shithole. They could have nerfed it by gutting half the trash. Then you have more uptime to wipe on bosses and realize, oh yeah, the boss actually isn't that hard. If I just do this, I'll probably do 30% more damage with the right strategy. We're all in there learning. They could have nerfed it that way. And the run back, there's so many time sinks. Trash and running back from wipes, that was most of everyone's prog. You weren't actually progging on any bosses, and it seemed like they were really hard. But it's like the slime boss. That's a boss where we didn't explain jack shit, and it just took 2 wipes for people to go, oh yeah, kill furniture, falls in boss's mouth, he vomits players out that got caught, and you kill him, and you do that a few times over. Happy days.
Dude,
so
what we did on that?
Nerf it that way.
So
you just feed a players, right, and you force him to spew.
Well, no. So there was there was like some confusion on how that worked, and our decision was to have the melee just all go into the belly, which I believe anytime a melee goes into the belly is the same as killing one of those things on the side. So when we were having all the melee go into the belly, I could be wrong about this, but I know when we were having all the melee go in, the boss was just standing still, and the entire like corridor was just completely filled with slime. Like no one could stand anywhere, and I think it's because we all just kept going in, and it was horrible.
I kind of get the idea, like you're in the belly of a jelly and you're able to DPS, but I could see a world where they make it like, nah, we won't let you DPS in the gut if that becomes the meta, because it seems a bit wacky, like to intentionally get caught by the boss. But maybe they'll just leave it. Maybe they'll go, nah, whatever, just zug the boss from inside.
Mm-hmm. You're muted, Bob.
Yeah, so it didn't work for us, and we tried it like 4 times. It wasted a ton of our night. And then we did one where we just all kited, and boom, it was done. It was like, I think it was like a case of trying to use a sweaty strat, but not understanding exactly all of the mechanics of the sweaty strat, and just basically like hurting yourself because so many people hadn't seen the fight or understood it. And I think that was where we like failed there. But like, if you do it normal, like the first week I did it, we just kited it, and like we didn't wipe at all. I mean, we did it once and it was done, you know? So it was weird to see that happen. And yeah, but.
And another cool thing that happened in the raid is that the priest boss changed this week. And that was cool. That was really interesting.
The one where one has a shield and one has a...
Yeah, so like week 1 that did like the big penance, like raid wide damage. This week it had like the other guy had a divine storm tornado type thing. It was cool. They changed it. I wonder what it's gonna be this week. It makes me like excited for that boss again, you know?
I don't know if it's true, but in the officers chat of Swamp, or not officers, raid leader chat of Swamp, they said that it's like 2 different ones now. So like there's like one of them goes first and it's supposed to swap every week. I'm not really sure on it.
Either way, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting that they made it change.
We need comments, guys. Comments about everything we're saying wrong or right. We need to know. Like like leave them in the comments. We want to know how all this shit works, because like it's hilarious, because you'll see the top guilds going in, and so many people are still like, wait, how does this mechanic work exactly? Like they don't know. And there's a very big difference between really high end raids and really casual raids. Like really high end raids, fucking rogues, mages, anybody who can is kicking shit constantly, is stopping so much damage that you would be surprised if everybody kicked, stunned and stuff on trash and everything else. Like you'd be surprised how much that changes a flow of a raid. But some people don't even know how to do all of their, like all of their different, not moves, but
CCs and utility.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Utility. There's so many things you could do to help out everything, and like that's where you see the difference. That's why there's some raids that'll go and just be like completely fine because everybody knows these things. But then, you know, you'll have raids where everybody's completely micromanaged, and everybody's like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, where as if it's a group of people that really know their classes, they're going to do it regardless.
Yeah,
And
I find it so interesting watching the top raids raid, because like that raid leader is saying minimal.
Hmm?
He's
Yeah.
just kind of forming the troops and letting them go and running with them, and it's like they just know what to
Must
do.
be nice.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and Pummel was like, he made a video about this in Wrath about how raid comms are completely oversaturated. It's like, if someone needs an inner raid, that shouldn't be on comms. It should be in tells, and it should be worked out prior to the fight starting. Healing assignments should be worked out in tells and done prior to the thing. Now, for us, we had to talk about healing assignments, like vocally, because it was the first time we'd raided together. But like, once you've gone past that, like, that's not something that should be talked about in comms. It's something that should be worked out by the people that know what they're doing. That's why Move and I always try and like teach our raid the why, because the why is how you adapt. If you know the how, you'll be fine until you run into a problem, and then you won't know what to do.
Self-preservation in a raid is so important.
Dude,
People need to just learn how to keep themselves alive.
that's a huge one too. If you pull aggro, which you shouldn't do because you should be watching threat, then you should be able to blow evasion, blow vanish, blow whatever you have for your class. Like, and if you're a class that doesn't have those, yeah, that's another big one, Lubes. Like, people just running in, DPSing immediately before the tank grabs threat.
I don't know what you're
Anybody
talking
else?
about. I love wiping. I love wiping. 2% wipe and you had 2 DPS dead from 4 seconds in. I fucking love it, mate. That's what I go to raids for. And you just look
Yep.
at their dead raid frame going, fuck you, bro.
After you use the B-res on them last pull.
Yeah, we had a 2% slime wipe of one of our 2 wipes. Maybe it was our first attempt. We wiped on 2%, and we had a guy dead in 9 seconds. And I was just looking at him like, bruh, come on. Why you did this to us?
That was your 2%.
And the Hunter too, like a good DPS. We definitely would have earlier, but
Okay, so Salut Baton, who rated us earlier in chat, she was like, she like loves this concept, because whenever she asks the raid leaders why, they get mad. Whereas we had a lot of people asking questions, and I thought it was great. We had this new girl. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name, but she was asking all kinds of questions, which is great because so many people won't ask questions and they'll just continue to do the wrong thing rather than ask. It's something I used to do in Varg. I usually knew the answer. Sometimes I didn't, but I usually knew the answer or close to the answer. But I just asked because I knew no one was asking and a ton of people didn't know. So I'd be like, hey, well, why is this? Why is, and I just ask questions because people are scared to.
Our Restokin Skyra, who kept asking. Also, shout out to her because she got demolished by the ghosts because people kept running them to her, and it was the funniest reaction I've ever seen in my whole life.
Sweet.
She was like,
It was amazing. I know. She was like, Casimo, get away from me! Get away from me! Like, he kept running closer. It was hilarious.
So I made a guild in Wrath that was called Azeroth's Academy, and I would take first-time WoW players, and it was phases and phases after Nax launched, but I would run them through their first ever raid, and like
awesome.
try to be as patient as I can, just because these people are gonna try to raid, and no one's gonna be patient with them. They want to get in and get out and get their loot.
Well, and I'll go even further and say that those raid leads that yell at you, in working in IT, I've had bosses like that before, and what I've found is that bosses that do that do it to protect themselves. The question you're asking them, they don't know the answer to. So instead of saying, "Oh, it works like this, and this." They just yell at you and be like, "Don't you know your fucking job? Don't you know how to play your fucking character?" Like, and that's them just not knowing and not being okay with saying, "I don't know how this works. Does anybody else know how this works?" And I think we struggled at different times, but I think our raid did a good job of trying to explain how things worked to people that weren't catching on. And I think that's a difference, that I want to keep in our raids that I think a lot of people don't have in their, especially sweaty raids,
It's like entry level jobs.
Yeah.
You need to have an entry level job somewhere.
Right. I think we also forget sometimes too, because we had a lot of classes now that heal that aren't used to healing, right? And in every other raid prior to this, their job was not majority healing, right? And so we've got Restokins, we've got mage healers, we've got, everybody who's used to being a healer that was used to doing a lot of DPS because you didn't have to heal very much is now pushed in a different direction of like, your main focus needs to be on healing. Like if you get to damage, cool, but you need to focus on healing, right?
It's a whole separate type of gameplay.
Yeah, it's a totally different type of gameplay. And I think there's the healer purists, right? that are like, oh, okay, this is what I'm used to, versus the other people who are like, well, this sucks. I don't want to just heal. I liked kind of healing and then damaging as well. But like, I think we're seeing some of that too, because you see a lot, like you need a lot more healers in one raid than you had before.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And like we'll put that out here right now. We are struggling for heals across Swamp. So if anybody wants to reach out to me in game or reach out to me however you can get to me, reach out. If you don't completely suck, I mean, we need heals. We need heals bad for all of our raids. We have a bunch of raids going, and everybody's struggling to get healers.
Mhm.
If Blizzard could please just nerf like Boomies and Shadow Priests, so all those guys go back to healing.
No.
Get rid of those.
We're keeping
those
boom.
specs,
We need
mate.
to buff Boomies.
When they sucked, we had lots of healers. Now we
Dude.
have no healers because they're good.
Boomies are actually great if they're willing to do wild growth. Like a couple boomies in your raid can really like change the turn of tide on really hard, like not like like I'm thinking like for instance like Erraticus, like when all the ads come out, like boomies can change the tide there by just throwing heals out, like just wild growth, like, and have a boomie for each group, like that can be huge. And it's not like a straight up healer, I know you don't want to do that because you can't parse doing that, but
DPS loss. I don't mess with that.
but
I don't think it would hurt if Rogue's got a little healing.
Oh
got
my
bandages.
God.
Just a little something.
Bandages.
Get out of here.
Stick with it.
I'm just waiting for them to
Is
make
it-
mages be able to tank too, so that we can just like mages could just do it all.
Yeah, I've thought about trying to form like a 20-man only druids raid.
Mm.
See if eventually we could do that. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I want 20-man rogue. Simon and I will get it going. We'll,
Eventually.
Don't give them ideas,
It's
Bucky. They're
fast
sick and
enough.
twisted. They might give us that They might give us that bloody healing pot like in retail, where the rogue, you got the finisher that regens HP. Maybe they'll give us that, and
Oh
it affects
my
the whole party.
God.
Don't give them ideas. I only want things that make us do more damage. All right.
Mhm.
No utility for rogues.
All better tanks.
I still think rogues should have might. Rogues should be the ones that bring might to the raid. Yep. And then you can deal with one less pally in your raid. So you don't have to have them for the might.
It could bring something like True Shot Aura or something like that. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Do rogues bring anything right now?
Not
We do
Unless,
with 3-piece. That's something
yeah,
we should talk
3-piece.
about. 3-piece,
Oh,
3-piece is nuts. It's 7 damage on every single thing everybody does in the raid, even casters, from what I understand. The 3-piece bonus is like hemo, but for everybody, not just melee. And it's like 7 damage, so it's even better than hemo. Like, so that's why I was so upset I didn't get my second piece of tier on this last one. But like I did end up getting it because one of the people was super nice. Like he accidentally rolled on a piece on a tier token that wasn't for him. And he messaged, and then San Medina grabbed the piece and held it for me while he logged out, and then I was able to get it because I was the one that actually won it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so now I have 2 set. I feel like I really want to talk to the raid when we start the next raid and be like, guys, if you just give me the 3 set, I'll SR it, but like it's gonna bring up the entire raid's damage by like 10%. It's absolutely like you saw a knife party in Maui when they were recruiting a rogue. They were like, we need rogue with 3-piece. Like it's super huge to the raid. So we do bring it with 3-piece, but we still don't really bring anything, just base wise yet.
Maybe if
besides
you
the crazy damage.
We're aware.
Just expose. You'll bring something, right?
Yuck.
You could do that. Yeah. You like, honestly, with Honor Among Thieves, like expose isn't too bad. Like you just have one rogue do it, switch off like week to week, and like, this week it's your turn, this week it's your turn. And if they spec into it, it's actually the best armor pen in the game at the moment. So
The problem with it, though, is that it stopped. Apparently, homunculi will only work if they get to do all their jobs. So then you won't get the minus attack power and whatever the fuck the other homunculi do. Like if you expose armor, it just makes the homunculi stand around like doing nothing. They won't do the other 2 of the 3. That's what I got told. Maybe that's just rogue propaganda, so we don't have to expose.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is,
I don't
because
know
if
if
one of them
that's-
dies, the other 2 still do something.
yeah, I
Rogue
think
propaganda.
that's probably wrong, but like you could have warriors do, like, basically the other 2 are Demo Shout and Thunderclap. So you could have warriors do those, but if you're bringing a Shadow Priest, you're bringing them for that. I still think Shadow Priest with homunculi is the best for most things, but at the same
Not
time,
your healing priest, though. Your healing priest does not want to give up palm anymore.
yeah, I don't think it's a thing you should be doing. Like you should have at least 2 or 3 warriors in your group, and if you have 3 warriors, then they should be doing Sunder. Like, but if you have 4 rogues, then one of the rogues should be doing expose. It just kind of depends on your comp. And
Is there
sense.
such thing as Shami healers? I feel like I never see a Shami healer.
They're great.
they're few and far between, but boy, the Shami healer we had in STV today was amazing.
Really?
Really? Oh yeah, dude. Dude.
Did you recruit them to our raid? Like,
Oh,
hey
we
guys, what are you doing?
dude, we didn't even think to ask him.
Come on.
That's on me. That's on me, guys. I'll take that one.
I'll leave you guys alone for one day.
Yeah, but all in all, yeah, I want to hear from Jason. Jason is so new, like, and this was his first 20-man raid where you just like, fuck.
I mean, kind of, but not really. I mean, so I was mentally preparing myself for the 20 man because I wasn't looking forward to it. But it was like, it's fun going in and having to learn the fights and doing all, just like when we did when I did Nomer for the first time. You guys were on your 3rd try or whatever, but it took a few tries, and we're all going to get better gear, and we're all going to get to know the fights better, and that's fun for me. That whole process is fun. So, yeah, I mean, cool. Let's do
I agree.
more.
I think it's hard to keep it. like, here's the thing is that we're not sweaty. We're not like uber casual, right? We're like in the middle, right? And so it's hard to keep everybody on the same page of like, hey guys, we might not clear everything and it's okay, but like, let's not get upset with each other. Let's not make this an unfun experience for everybody because
Right.
that just makes people not want to come back. And like for me, I want to go in and I want to learn the fights together. And sure, it's frustrating when the same person makes the same mistake 4 times, right? And I get that. And like I've been that person before, right? Where it's like I can't push that button. I don't know why I can't push that button, but it's just not happening at the right time. But I think still trying to find a balance to make it fun while also trying to get 20 people on the same page, it just gets increasingly difficult. That's why the larger raids become more difficult because you have to find 20 people that have the exact same or close to the mindset that you have, right? Which is not like if you're sweaty, you have to find 20 other very, very sweaty people that are going to do everything that they can to get to the next step. If you're casual, you have to find 20 other casual people that don't care if we clear content or not. And if you're somewhere in the middle, that's where you get like, that's where it's, I think you get, you struggle because you have some people who are like in the middle, but higher on the sweaty side, right? And some people are like in the middle, but lower on the casual side. And so trying to get all those people to come together is a challenge.
It's like a different level of, so people compare the difficulty from retail to classic a lot.
Silly.
And it is kind of a dumb thing because it's 2 completely different games.
Yeah. If
Or
you
different
want
levels.
extremely hard content, go to a retail.
Yeah. If you want hard mechanics and hard physical content, then you go to retail. And if you want to press a lot of buttons, you go to retail. I know classic is easier than retail. I'm not going to come up here and be like, oh, classic is the hardest game. These raids suck. But like, if you want people that are like you said, the balancing, getting 20 people, and even in original in 2019 classic, 40 people for these raids.
Yeah.
That's an impossible task to try to do all that. It's crazy.
You're like looking at people management more than game mechanics at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to try to manage these people and their expectations and their loot and their
It's a different level of difficulty, different type.
Yeah, it's a different type of difficulty. And
and we saw the difficulty like just in moving up to 20. Like
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, and I was like, I thought it would be a much like an easy thing to do the +1 thing because I just learned what +1 was literally a few days prior when I went to Apricot Cat's raid. I was like, this is cool. Pretty much everybody got a piece of gear. This is cool. And like, phew, man, people did not, there was a handful of people that did not like it or did not understand it. Maybe it was my fault for explaining it poorly, but people did not like it. And that's why I was glad I was streaming because I was like, if you want to check my work, you can check out the stream. And then I had people come into the stream and be like,
shameless plug.
That warrior just got the second best shoulders for off spec. Why didn't you give him a +1? I was like, because it was off spec. And since he's only one of 2 warriors in the raid, and San Medina doesn't want a DPS at all, San didn't roll. So he was smart to roll off spec. He should probably roll main spec for his +1 on anything that's contested. Like it would be kind of stupid for him to not to do that. And he was like, well, it's like an absurd good thing. And I was like, I know, bro. That's why, he's playing a class
and you get the piece.
He's playing a class that like we don't have a lot of option on, like the rogues have to deal with a little bit more because everybody wants to play rogue. So
no matter what loot system you do, there's going to be people that don't like it.
Always.
There's always
and
going to
honestly, I'm just always in the boat of like, who cares? Like you're going to get the
rules
loot.
are the same for everybody.
It doesn't I don't care enough to I'll pass a piece of loot to somebody if they really need it and I'm doing fine. Like I get it when we needed the loot to kill the bosses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we needed the loot to kill the bosses, I get being more weird about loot, right? But we cleared the bosses without the loot, okay? So we'll be fine. if you get the loot, great. And I mean, it's coming from a healer perspective where I don't care about parses, so maybe that's different with, DPS, that maybe that's why they care. But at the same time, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
me and Lubes had this conversation, but Lube, like, I don't think you're gonna parse unless the whole, like, I don't think the group as a whole is gonna parse unless everybody, or at least the majority, has world buffs on. I know
it's a collective thing.
Yeah, I know there's ways to parse for like one or two people in a group that doesn't have world buffs, but I don't think, like, if you want to see a group that has like the majority of the DPS parsing like 90 plus, I think that's only going to be like a group that has the majority of people with world buffs. And there's good and bad to world buffs, like, but they're so strong.
They are ridiculously strong.
It's just so, yeah, I don't know. All I know is I'm having a good ass time. I mean,
yeah,
Mhm.
me too.
There's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of things that, and it's
Yeah.
a lot of non-solo grinds too, which is fun. You got to play with your buddies.
I know, and that's so cool. Like, it's like I've talked to people before. I've like never. Mel and I always quested just her and me. We would group up for a dungeon, but like, do we group quest now? We do all kinds of weird shit, like that is just not normal, and it's fun as shit, especially on a PvP server where strength in numbers means,
Yeah.
the other faction doesn't mess with you. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you
Right.
kind of choose your battles when you have the higher numbers, right?
Mhm.
You're like, do I
Yep.
want to mess with them or not? And then there's Buckman, who's like, what are we doing? Why are we just walking by this mage? What is everybody doing here? Like,
I'll
Are
give it a
we
little
really going to
slash
let this
wave.
mage live? Are we really going to let this mage live?
They never let me live, ever, not once. If it was 5v1, it was 5v0 because they were killing me
Mhm.
quick.
I'll give them a little slash wave, maybe a little slash dance, and then they'll be on their way.
Slash tickle.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Slash honor.
all right, so Draw Jove in the chat was like saying that it was him talking about the shoulders. Yeah, that's what we were kind of saying. There's problems with every different loot system. And
he was
like,
just saying
yeah,
he didn't roll main spec because he was going to replace him with his crafted gear quickly, right? And so if he didn't get him, he didn't really care, right? Like if somebody else were to roll main spec, he would have been fine
Like,
to give
fine.
them up to
Yeah.
them,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like,
yep.
so I think that's the moral of the story is like you roll off spec when you're like, yeah, this is for my off spec, or it's like a minor upgrade that I don't really care about, and I'm not going to give my +1 away for it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no reason to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it does suck if you're like waiting for that later boss that drops something you really want, but that's the whole point of it. Like you have to be like, well, that's what I really want. I'm going to go for that.
You're
But
stuck with it.
Your bets.
If everybody did that system right, then by the time you got to those big bosses that drop the big ticket items, everybody
Everybody's got
rolling on
+1.
that item would already have a +1, and now it'd be a free roll and everybody wins. But,
I think it'd be a better system. Honestly, I think +1 would be a better system if you could see what everybody had at all times, right? Like if I could see like who I was going to have to roll against, if they had a +1 or not, or if they were rolling on it or not, right? Like I think I could plan out my
Or-
system better if I was that concerned about it.
or if we could get the raid done in under 2 hours and just hold all of the loot, right?
That
Like-
makes everything so much more
Like, so
convenient.
as we go on, like we will transition to doing that. But right now, like, especially that first raid with the confusion on +1, I was like, no, I'm rolling gear off as we do the boss, period. Like I'm not going to hold this. Like
Yeah, that was a good call.
yeah, but like later on, we'll just pick up the loot and go, right?
Go
And we'll
on,
just
yeah.
do it all at the end. And that's when +1 would actually be really good because you'd know what was all out there. And then we would do the top ticket items from top to bottom, so then you could use your +1 on the best thing that would be for you. Like that's where it would be a really good system. But, I didn't even know how far we were going to get. That's why I didn't want to do SR. Somebody reserves something from Oranicus. It's like,
who knows if they're going to.
I don't even know we're going to get there, bro. So, but we are doing SR for our next one.
In Wrath, I would host these Alduar runs, and people would res like the hard mode loot. And I'm like, I can't even tell you if we're going to kill that boss. Like, I can't even.
If we're even going to do it on hard.
I can't confirm that.
Yeah.
So every loot system is going to be terrible at some.
Yeah, everybody's going to get screwed over at least once.
Yeah. Suck it up. You're fine.
Yep.
Yeah. I can't believe.
Next time around, you'll get what you're coming for.
I was like one of the only people in raid that didn't get a piece, and I can't believe somebody came through and was like, hey, I rolled on the wrong piece of gear. I got it. But I could trade it right now. Is anybody on? They could trade it over to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge. That was
nice
awesome. I believe his name is Killnout. I think his name is Killnout.
Kill
Yeah.
9.
Kill 9.
It was
Kill
Kill
9.
9.
Thank you. That was really cool. All right. Well, guys, anything last to say about Sunken Temple? Any final thoughts?
No, I
I'm
still have
excited
some
to be back.
anxiety,
Yeah,
but we'll get there.
Same.
I do too. I think just the unknown is kind of, daunting. I feel like I haven't had enough time personally, just with life and things going on, to do as much research as I would have liked to do before we went in there. But, it is what it is. I think we'll figure it out. And, we're friends and have fun along the way is the most important thing to me.
Yep.
It's always the best thing to remember.
Yep.
Lubes?
I'm gonna enjoy WoW, and no matter what form it is, it's gonna be hard to find anything that gets me too fired up about WoW.
You are an old soul, my friend. You are.
I love playing with you.
Yeah, you are. You are
I just
such an
enjoy playing.
amazing young man. I just have to say.
I appreciate
Luke, are you available to assist from the stream perspective on Sunday? Because I'm just kidding. I'm just saying you saved our butts this last raid.
yeah.
Oh, actually, Sunday I have my cleanup with that pug. Hopefully that goes well. That's another thing that's kind of lost. Like the day 2, I find that kind of enjoyable. Everyone coming back in with world buffs.
Mm-hmm.
We're just
I like
ready
it
to
too.
pump.
we're just not used to it. So
Yeah,
I'm
the 3-day lockouts changed us.
I'm interested to see if we have at least 14 to 15 people show up from the raid Sunday tomorrow. I will find us the pugs, but we're just gonna have to see. I don't have a lot of faith. I hope I'm wrong, but
Did you put a sign up? You did, right?
no, I put a sign up for the next week. We talked to everybody at the end of the raid and told them when we were going to do it. I'm going to ping them about an hour
I
prior.
feel like I think you still should have put a sign up for continued.
Maybe.
But-
I'm just going to re-ping everybody who was in the raid and be like, all right, we're about an hour out. How's everybody feeling?
There was a few people that said they couldn't come, so that's what I'm saying is you just prioritize people that were there for the first lockout, and then I don't know. We can talk about that later. Sorry.
Yeah. Ubi, anything last to say? Or are you AFK? He was getting ready for football.
I think he had left.
Football.
Anybody who doesn't know what that means, he's getting ready for soccer. He's going to play soccer. All right. Well, yeah. So I think that's it. Let's go ahead and start closing out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, it's wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to join our Discord, it is warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. If you'd like to send a voicemail in, It's 816-866-1066 if you're in the continental U.S. If not, it's speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded so you don't get any long distance fees. Then how can you help the pod out? Well, just every time you're in a Arathi Basin, a Warsong Gulch, anytime you're in Iron Forge, I just want you to yell out, I love Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. ... Google it, bitch. Like do that in real life when you're in Walmart. Just be like, Warcraft Reloaded Podcast for life, brother. Like just like yell it out. You know, like people are weird at Walmart. You'll still fit in. It's okay. Yeah, that's just basically tell people about the pod. That's how you help the pod. You can get our Patreon. You can find it at warcraftreloaded.com. You can find all of our stuff there. Buktastik, Bucky, where can we find you?
On your stream, Blazzinbob, Twitch.
No, I thought we're doing something soon. I thought you made a Twitter, so you.
Oh yeah, I think I did, but I don't remember it now. So
it's
probably
we're not ready for that yet, Bob.
Damn it, Buck. You need to have this done
for that shit.
before we do our next podcast.
Got you, man.
Teaser for a new pod coming, not in the gaming sphere, but yeah, Bucky will find out how you can follow him later. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Bob's stream, or on Warcraft Reloaded, or in game. If you want to say hi to me, Melarina. I like it when people send me messages.
It's not in Battlegrounds.
In chat, Salut Patan just yelled out her window, not joking.
Love it. Love it.
And awesome. Ubi, where can we find you? I think he's gone.
Yeah. He is gone.
Yep. Oh. You can find Ubi on Countdown to Classic. He's on it a lot. He's one of the best voices on that platform. Check out Josh. Josh is amazing. Like he's someone I learn from constantly, how to work a crowd, how to work a podcast. Like check out Countdown to Classic and you will definitely find Ubi. Lubes, where can we find you?
Twitch.tv/IAmLubes. That's pretty much it. I don't really post anywhere else.
Where did that name come from?
My last name?
You want to know?
I want to know where Lubes came from.
My last name is spelled Luebke, and it's pronounced Lubke. And pretty much all growing up, my nickname was Lubes. And that's just what it was.
So people it's not as dirty as I thought.
Yeah, people think there's some like sexual connotation behind it.
I totally thought it was dirty. Yeah, it's kind of the same with my name. Everybody thinks it has to do with weed, but I came up with the name before I ever even knew. Hi-hat. Yeah, I ever even knew about weed. I'm just saying I created the name before I ever knew anything about herb.
Guys, if you're wondering, I found DB in the world. I'm standing right next to him, AFK. But.
Nice. All right, well, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
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 Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.